ready, Frank? Oh,
Can't start on that.
no. Okay.
Here we go.
All right. One. Two. Three. Four. Five. Six. Seven. Eight. Nine. 10. 11. 12. 13. 14. 15. 16. 17. 18. 19. 20. 21. 22. 23. 24. 25. 26. 27. 28. 29. 30. 31. 32. 33. 34. 35. 36. 37. 38. 39. 40. 41. 42. 43. 44. 45. 46. 47. 48. 49. 50. 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99,
Boom! Boom. Good passing, Frank. We got it. We got it for Special Olympics. All right. Everybody's in a tizzy here. It's so great. Okay, I'm going to toss it straight to after making 100 in a row at 4 a.m. Mr. Jim Lee, free throw shooting champion from Syracuse back in the 60s. Check him out.
Jim Lee, a longtime donor, first time on the live stream from Mount Pleasant, and a treasured free throw shooter with a great story. Jim, how are you, sir?
I'm very good, thank you. And in
I
honor
am
of the
so
South,
glad
in
to
honor
meet
of
you.
everybody from South Carolina, for you, I wore my Bulls Bay pullover.
There you go. Bulls Bay. I love it. I am so grateful that we got connected because you have an incredible story about free throws that you want to share. Please tell us.
Well, it started, it started when my dad passed away, and I was always a good foul shooter. I mean, growing up, we grew up in a very small town. Actually, I've got a copy of the book right here, and this is where we grew up shooting baskets. And basically, my brother Mike and I, we spent all our days in the backyard, and he was a few inches taller than I was and a couple years older, so I got beat up regularly, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me. But I just got in the habit of shooting foul shots and shooting. I'd go out and shoot for 2-3 hours all the time. And probably since I was, I bet you 5th or 6th grade, I would shoot 100 a day and I would just track it. And I think my mother threw it all away, but I mean, I did it from there through college. So there was somewhere in the house, but then when we moved away, I think she just kind of tossed it. I wish I had it because people always ask me, well, how many times did you get 100 out of 100? I said, well, a lot. I can't remember, because it's been more than once or twice. It was once or twice I would remember, but it was a lot of times. And I would track it, but I have no proof because she threw it all away. But
Well, I believe you. I believe you, Jim. I
as
know
you do that.
you were a really good player, you and your brother, at Syracuse.
Correct.
And at one point you held the free throw record. Is that right?
I had the single season mark for 30 years till Jerry McNamara broke it, but I had it for 30 years. And the funny thing, my brother Mike had the consecutive foul shots made for 39 years before Brandon Trish broke his. And as my brother Mike put it one time, it's like a friend of his called him. He goes, "Hey, I'm sorry about your record got broken." He goes, "Well, what are you talking about?" He goes, I saw that you had a record for like 38 years. It was just broken. He goes, "Oh yeah." He goes, "Well, for the record, it was 39 years." But so he knew exactly where it was. And
What was your percentage and what were the consecutive number of free throws your brother Mike made?
I think Mike was like at 30. Yeah, it was either 35 in a row, like under game situations, and he got the foul line a little more than I did, but and mine actually was 88-6 when my sophomore year at Syracuse. So for 30 years I held it, and actually for a career I was 0.002 percentage points below Richie Cornwell, who God rest Richie soul, he passed away a couple of years ago, but that was a good record, which I liked having.
Well, hold that book up a little bit again and tell us why you wrote it.
Well, this right here, I wrote it, I didn't write it to begin with to make money or do any of that stuff. It was basically when my father passed away, and he was a double amputee from World War II. And that's like Mike and I, like my brother Mike was a 6'3" forward at Syracuse, and he played forward and started every game from sophomore year on. And here I weighed 165 pounds when I graduated. So we weren't in like at 6'3", that's not a position to play forward, especially nowadays. But even back then, he was covering 6'7", 6'8" guys. And well, 160 pounds doesn't get you very far anymore. But for some reason, good things always happened to us. And I think it had to do with our father, because he couldn't, you would never know he was disabled, ever. He did more things than other people, but we were like his legs. So Mike and I played ball, and we know he got good satisfaction of watching us. So when he passed away, I thought, a friend of mine asked me, he goes, "You ought to write a book, and then maybe you could donate some of the proceeds." So I put it together and wrote it, and I wish I could have sold a few more copies so I could donate more money to the EBV program at Syracuse, but that also expands to 10 other schools in the country. But people that have read it, and I know that the people who have sat down, I know that I've helped them, and it's just very simple. And it's you being a good shooter because I've watched you on your tapes, so I know that. And it's very simple to do, and some people get carried away and want to do too much stuff to look cool. I mean, it's simple. You just, there's the basket, here's the ball, make it as easy as possible with the less amount of movement as possible. And kids just don't do it. And I don't know why. And for me, being 160 pounds, I know that I always got in game situations at the end of games, or I think I shot every technical foul shot in high school and college because I was the best shooter no matter what. So it got me in games at a time. And even my sophomore year, when I was the sixth man coming up, I was always in the game at the end of a game because if they were getting a foul, Coach D wanted them to foul me. So I got the ball, and that gave me extra playing time too. And kids don't understand that nowadays. They don't. But
I think it's remarkable.
That's how the book happened, just to try to do something nice for people who got hurt in the wars. And all told, I mean, I put together a golf tournament similar to what you do with your 24 hours, but nothing but that. And over the years for my dad, we've raised, I think it was like close to $440,000, which went to all sorts of disabled organizations, to the DAV, to Syracuse University's EBV program, which stands for Entrepreneurship Boot Camp for Veterans with Disabilities. And it was fun to do. I had to give it up because I had a few things happen to my body that I couldn't do it anymore, but it was nice to do those things. So I still do things when I can for the veterans.
We have a similar passion and a purpose, and we use free throws as our vehicle to share our story. You and I got connected because your daughter, Suzanne, works for the Women's Sports Network. And my friend Carol Stiff and I were talking at the Women's Final Four about potentially adding the Women's Sports Network to covering some of our events so we could get more publicity to raise the level of the story and maybe get more people to donate. And immediately upon mentioning it, your daughter's like, I know your event. My dad lives in Mount Pleasant and he is a donor. I thought that was just remarkable. How did you learn about our event, Jim?
Actually, I learned about it from friends of yours, Joe and Kenwin Olin, who live right down in your area and belong to Bulls Bay. And they said they know you from there. And I said, well, I know who Debbie is because I watch a lot of college basketball. So I hear you on the air. I like how you do things too, Debbie, just so you know. And that's how I started out. But once I saw that you were doing for Special Olympics, like our cousin, Teresa she was a Down syndrome girl, but she was probably, when did the Special Olympics start?
It would have started in the 60s when Eunice Kennedy Shriver created the first
in the 60s. So
Teresa,
okay, so Teresa was born in 1958. So she went to like the first Special Olympics because Uncle Maury and Aunt Joe would always send us things with Teresa, like getting her ribbon and stuff like that. And like there was one time which it was close to where we are because they lived in St. Louis and we were in New York State, and so we couldn't see him, but at least it was close enough. But that's why I knew about that, so I had no problem sending something to you.
Yeah, I'm so grateful. I mean, this is a pretty cool connection. And then when I found out that you'd written a book and you've got all these records, and you know, I'm as you know, for me, I'm similar to you in college. I mean, I shot the technicals. I didn't get to the free throw line that much. I was playing outside. I didn't drive to the basket like these players do today. But I've had a lot of coaches ask me, can you teach my players how to shoot free throws? And I'm like, do they know how to shoot? Because if they don't know how to shoot, I can't help them shoot free throws. There's certainly the mechanics are the same on the line as they are from outside the 3-point line. But I'm working really hard on my fitness to be able to complete this task. And it's a challenge for sure, but it's definitely worth it because we have the same purpose and passion. Right.
You have an end goal, and I could never do what you do, only because I can't stay up for 24 hours straight. I just can't do it. I couldn't do it when I couldn't do it when I was young.
Yeah, that's not the hardest part of it. The having the legs in shape to be able to handle the task is the part that I worry about the most.
I
The
do-
reason why I can stay awake is
Yeah.
because every hour the amount of money continues to go up, and that
Right.
inspires me and motivates me every hour.
Right. I said you have a purpose. And I know what you're talking about there, because I remember when I would get on a roll in the backyard at my house, and the one time I made I think the most I ever made in a row was 423. But I do know my father was in the back, and my sister was rebounding for me. And I have to admit, like the last number of them, as I was going up, I was getting cramps in my calves. And I had to step back a touch, but I didn't want to get out of my rhythm. And I still remember the one I missed. It hit the front, the back, came back to the front, and fell off. And it still almost went in, but I think that's kind of cool. I mean, to tell you where we grew up, I had a lot of fun by myself doing that. And some kids would look at me, it's like, even my friends look at me, what are you, nuts? He goes, you always say you wish you could shoot like me. He goes, well, that's why.
There you go. It's muscle memory and repetition
Yeah.
and the ability to self-correct. I say it all the time. And it's kind of like for us, you and I, it's kind of like riding a bike. If we had the right fitness, we'd be fine, right? But it's just the same technique. And I try to keep my focus on the front of the rim and keep my elbow under the ball and, make sure I follow through. And it is repetition, but I want to be drilled in and make sure. And it's not really about the free throws. It's really about the story, but the platform through the free throws helps make the story better.
Right. And I think it's great that you're doing that. And you're doing pretty good for 4 years.
Yeah, thank you. You know what? Next year you'll be in the driveway. I know you can't be with us.
I will come down at some point. I mean, I live in Syracuse, New York still, but I will come down. But we always come to Charleston area to see our friends. And we've been doing it for years. And yeah, it's just I ran into a little problem last week, but it happened in 1976, so I got 47 years out of it. I'm not complaining.
Well, Jim, you're a real blessing to 24 Hours Nothing But Net, and I always love to connect with, especially the donors that share a similar purpose. And your story about free throw shooting is perfect for our event. So thank you so much for taking time.
Well, pleasure to meet you, Debbie.
You too, sir. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Back at you with JC Sheldon, a super senior at The Ohio State University, one of my favorite guards to watch play and cover. And I met JC when she was a freshman at Ohio State, coming off of her great high school career at Dublin. So I know the area, JC, right? You and I are connected by the whole Ohio State thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
I spent 4 years there, probably before you were born, but I was there 4 years, and I love my time there. How's your experience going? Because you elected to play your 5th year at Ohio State, and you're going to have another really good team coming back after your performance in the Elite Eight last year.
Absolutely. I love this place. I grew up a Buckeye fan, so it was kind of always the dream to come here. And then being here has been awesome. Just being able to build connections, get so close with the coaching staff, and then kind of build the culture we've created here has been so fun. And like you said, the group we had a great group last year, and then the group for this coming year is just as good. And we have a lot of new people too coming to join. So I'm really excited.
So Cody McMahon will be around. She's a great freshman last year. She was one of the finalists for National Freshman of the Year. I thought she had a chance to win a couple of those awards. She had a fantastic year in the Big Ten. And you've got a style of play under Coach Kevin McGuff that not many play anymore. It's very up-tempo, 94 feet of defense, and you turn teams over. How much fun is it to play in that fast style?
I love playing in that style. I'm somebody who always does things fast no matter what it is. So playing in that style is so much fun for me. And honestly, I think our whole team has adapted to it and learned to love it. So like you said, our press gets our pace going, and we love doing it. We like disrupting things, kind of playing in chaos. And then going in transition, playing as fast as we can is our goal. So we're going to continue to do that next year. And I think we have a good group to do it with.
I know you had some injury this year, so you played not all the games, and I don't remember the number. I'm not even sure you played in half the games because you had an ankle injury. But when you came back at the right time, and what a run. Talk about the team's run through the NCAA tournament and how close you were to making it to the Final Four.
Absolutely, it was fun. I think all season you look forward to that tournament, and I think we played really well throughout it. We got to host, which was awesome. That's something we've never done while we've been here. So that was really cool, playing in front of our home crowd and having the atmosphere we did. And then we got to play UConn, which was again another great experience and something we were looking forward to. So that atmosphere was also awesome. We had a lot of, I think Sue Bird also came to that game. So just playing in that atmosphere and playing against UConn was a lot of fun. And I think it's a game, like I said, we looked forward to. And then making it to the Elite Eight was fun. We obviously wanted to get further, but got stopped short by a really good team. We kind of went cold there in that game. But overall, we had a really good tournament run. And I think every year just motivates us to get farther. So we made it to the Sweet 16 last year and then Elite Eight this year. So, the goal is always Final Four and then that final game. But I think overall, especially with a lot of the young kids we had, it was a great experience.
I'd say, I mean, it's fun to watch. So here's the question I want to know, because physically, it's a demanding style of play. As an athlete, you know when you are at your peak conditioning shape to be able to play that style. Okay.
Mhm.
What are some of the workout things? Because I'm curious, because I'm
Mhm.
trying to be in peak condition to be able to shoot free throws. Like, what are some of the really tough, physically grinding, challenging things that you have to do that get you ready to play?
Yeah, I think to be honest, we go up and down a lot. Obviously, I think we condition hard during the summer, and then it comes down to our practices. We play a ton, like I said, up and down, and then we'll run throughout our practices. But most of that conditioning comes from going up and down in practice and going hard. Me personally, which this was different, like you said, because I was hurt most of the season. I actually swam pretty much the whole second part of the year, which to be honest, I had never swam before. So it was a different experience, but it kept me in shape. I think that's why I was able to, play in the tournament and in the condition I played at. I don't think I would have been able to do that. Because it was a lower leg injury, I couldn't run, I couldn't really bike or elliptical, any of that. So swimming is kind of what did it for me, and it kept me in really, really good shape.
Well, you definitely were in great shape. Your whole team was in great shape.
Oh
It was
yeah.
remarkable to watch. So one of the other pieces of your story is why you're so endearing to the Antonelli family is you have Emmy, your sister. Now you got your brother, he plays as well, but you got Emmy. Tell us a little bit about your relationship with Emmy.
Yeah, so Emmy was born with Down syndrome. She was born with two holes in her heart, actually, so she had surgery at a really young age. But me and her, ever since she was born, we had a really close bond and relationship, and my brother does too. All three of us are really close. She's definitely changed. I know me and my brother's life significantly, and she makes it to all of our home games. And I think more than anything, it's been really cool to see her impact on others, not just me and my family. Obviously, we know how special she is. You guys know how special she is. But I think seeing a different group of girls, and then obviously not even my team, my close friends too, just being able to interact with her and seeing them grow just from meeting her is really cool. But she's a spark. She's amazing. She gives everybody hugs all the time. She's got so much energy all the time, and she's a joy to be with. I think it's hard to understand until you meet her, but she's really special. And like I said, the impact she has on others, you can't really explain it till you get to meet her because she's something special.
Definitely is something special, and I've had a chance to meet her as well, and she's a sweetheart. But I think sometimes people look at through my lens with Frankie and maybe yours with Emmy as just a source of motivation, but they're really much more than that. And if you surround them with the right people, they can have success just like anyone else. They can learn to succeed, they can learn to fail, make mistakes, figure it out. What kind of lessons do you think that you have learned from being Emmy's sister that have helped you be a really high level competitor?
Yeah, honestly, so many. I think one thing that obviously not to take anything for granted, and like you said, when you get to know these kids, you see that they do have the opportunities that you maybe never expected them to have. But I think honestly, I pride myself with my work ethic. I think I have a really good one, and I put that always back to her. She's the reason for that. Although she does have these opportunities, she's probably not going to get all the ones I have available to me. So I think that in general just pushes me to work in every aspect, whether it's in the classroom, obviously on the court, never take anything for granted. And that actually really helped me throughout, the time I got injured too, because you can, go into a hole and think about all the bad things you're going through. But I was able, to use her as motivation and, having her in my life every day, things aren't as bad as you think they are. So honestly, she's taught me patience. She's taught me to be a better person in general, to be nice to others. She's taught me so many things that she probably has no idea. The impact, like I said, she's made on me and my family as well. But she's taught me a ton, and she continues to teach me stuff every day. She doesn't let me forget it. She teaches me everything, and she's getting smarter, which I've noticed, starting to act like a teenager. So she's going through some learning right now too, but it's fun to just watch her grow and adapt, and I'm sure she sees growth in me too.
I'm sure she handles her life as a celebrity because
Oh,
that's the way
absolutely.
Frankie goes about conducting his business, right? I mean, what are some of the celebrity things that you have noticed that she's like, I'm a celebrity now?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, absolutely. She's gotten so much attention. I think it was so our Sweet 16 game. She before every game she comes down and gives us high fives on the court during our warm-ups. It's just something she's done all year. In our Sweet 16 game, they wouldn't let her down. So the
Ooh.
next day, the Elite Eight game, which I get. I mean, they can't let people without passes down. One of our coaches gave her the pass, and she was strutting onto the floor. I think it was not being able to be on there the game before, but she was waving to all the cameras. She made sure she got in all the cameras. It's awesome because it's something I never thought she'd be able to experience. So just her getting that attention and her enjoying that attention is pretty cool.
Well, you're a leader in many ways because your younger brother's a pretty good player as well. Tell us a little bit about him, JC.
Yeah, he's at OU right now. He's gonna go into his sophomore year next year. So he's a really good player. We grew up together in the gym. My parents were coaches all throughout our childhood. So we'd always go to my dad's practice and shoot around and compete against each other and compete really hard. We probably went too hard at times. We'd hurt each other. We'd play one-on-one all day, but he's really good. He's gonna develop into, even stronger and taller at here as he goes into his sophomore year. But he's a really good player. His work ethic is also something, that we grew up doing. We kind of fed off of each other. We wanted to beat each other all the time. Everything was a competition. So that, as much as I don't like to give him credit, that absolutely shaped, my game. I think he helped me grow and he's developed into a really skilled offensively player. So I think he's helped me on the offensive side as well. But I think just growing up with someone to compete against every day is something I probably took for granted because having him there made, me into the player I am and him as well. But we still go at it. He'll be home here next month, so we'll probably get in the gym a lot. But I'm excited, to watch his success coming up here.
Well, I know some of your creative shot making and finishing skills around the rim are because your brother probably blocked your shot quite a bit while he got bigger and you just got faster.
Absolutely, absolutely. He kicks my butt sometimes.
I'm so enamored by your family dynamics, right? Because your mom and dad coached and they were educators, and then sometimes you don't know that you're having a child with Down syndrome, and you've got these other kids, and you and your brother, and now Emmy. It's an interesting dynamic. Did Emmy factor in at all to your decision to play your super senior year?
She did. I think it's definitely something that I try not to think about, but she's always there. Would be, leaving her. I think when it came down to it, it was more about, the group we have and me getting healthy. That was my first concern. And then obviously having another year really close to her is not going to hurt, and it's gonna be really nice to have her around. But absolutely, I think anytime you think about leaving her, just like my decision to go to Ohio State, it had a lot to do with her staying close to her and watching her grow up. But now that she's getting older, I think, like I said, she's maturing, she's developing, and she's getting smarter. So I know eventually, when the next step comes and I do have to leave, she's gonna be all right. But absolutely, it's gonna be nice having her around for another year.
And what is your plan for the off season? Like, I'm always curious about what your schedule looks like because I know you have a vision for what you want to accomplish at the end of the year, but it's a process to get there. And you guys took significant steps last year to be able to, tighten up that process, knowing exactly what you have to do to be able to get there. What are some of the things on your schedule? Like here we are in May. And, are you going to summer school? Are you going to be working out at Ohio State? What's your plan?
Yeah, so I'll be here all of May. We don't have team workouts, so we'll be doing individual workouts, and we made it clear everybody needs to stay in the gym during the month of May. And May is actually my favorite. You get to work out a lot, get better at a lot of things. So I'll be in the gym a ton. I'll probably be around Ohio State. I'm finishing up my master's, so I've got an internship during May here that I'll have on campus. So it'll be easy to get in this building, get in the gym. So May will be busy, and then June we get back together as a team and we'll go at it every day. We'll lift, we'll condition, get into the good stuff, and then team workouts. So, but in my opinion, May is the best because you get to work out on, whatever you like to work on, and getting in the gym, getting shots up is what I like doing in May.
JC, as an elite level athlete who is very skilled, and someone that spends a lot of time in the gym that works, what's the balance for you between skill work versus conditioning and weights?
Yep. For me, recently with that injury going on, I did a lot of ball handling because it was the only thing I could do. So I did a lot of form shooting, a lot of ball handling, stationary ball handling for a while, which is something, I didn't always focus on. So I think it was really good for my game and really good for me to get in here and, just dribble the ball a little bit and get better in that aspect. And then conditioning wise, to be honest, in May, I'll work out with my trainer a lot and get a lot of reps in. I don't necessarily run up and down in May. Pick up games sometimes, but I think just continuously getting in the gym and getting through reps with him is honestly where my conditioning does come from. And weight's consistent throughout May, to be honest. 3 times a week right now. So with our strength coach here is what we do, and then condition twice a week.
Heather Mason is one of the top people in our business. I know Heather. Well, I'm friends with Heather from her time working with Pat Summitt. And I know she doesn't directly work with your team. She has one of her people that works with you. But have you had a chance to get to know Heather, and what kind of influence has her experience been on your team?
We actually did get to work with Heather for a year and a half. She worked with our group, while we were finding a new strength coach. So I know Heather really well. She's the real deal. Everything you hear about Heather is right. She's legit. She pushed our team probably harder than anybody that came in here has. And it's been awesome just getting to know her. Obviously, like you said, her experience, she's been through a lot and she shared that with us. So just hearing everything she's been through, everybody she's coached under and been with was really cool. But I think honestly, she had a huge impact on our team, and the condition, she got us in was like no other. And I think, Claire, who's our strength coach now, is really close with Heather, has, very similar tactics that Heather does, and she keeps us in condition just about the same. So being able to work with Heather, though, was awesome because we always heard about her. We didn't have a, connection or relationship with her. And now that we do, it's awesome.
Yeah, she's one of the best in the business. And
Absolutely.
If Pat Summitt had her working with her team, she can do magical things with players.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so this is making 100 free throws on the top of every hour for 24 straight hours. For you, it'd probably be a slam dunk. But for me, it requires an incredible amount of fitness.
I bet.
So tell me what your free throw routine is. Like when you go to the line, let's talk about free throws, because if we made all of our layups and our free throws, I'm sure, not you, because you make your layups and your free throws, but other players on the average could probably add 5 or 6 points to their scoring and their team total, which
Absolutely.
is what I care about.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Tell me about your free throw routine.
Yeah, I was forced into a free throw routine by my dad. Growing up, I didn't want one. I just wanted to catch the ball and shoot it right away. But he kind of told me, you need to catch your breath. You need to take your time. So honestly, now all I do is I catch it. I take 2 slow dribbles with my right hand, and then get into my form, making sure I have a little, space underneath the ball there, and then shoot it. But I think the most important thing is a deep breath for me, because if I didn't do it, it'd be very quick. My routine would be probably too fast. I like to do everything fast. So that's a point where you need to slow down, catch your breath, whether you're tired or not, take a deep breath, and then let it fly.
It is about the breathing at the free throw line, isn't it? I mean, that
Absolutely.
does have something to do with it, because I hear golfers talk about putts and about slowing down their breathing. And then I think about free throw shooting in a big game, in a tight situation. When you have been on the line in those pressure situations, what do you think about?
To be honest, I don't think about much. I just think the ball's going in. No matter how tired I am, no matter what's going on or what the score is, I think confidence is your greatest tool there. I think, if you don't shoot those big buckets with confidence, they're never going to go in. So whether, like I said, whether I'm exhausted or not, I think the only thing going through my mind is I need to take my time and it's going to go in.
I don't think you miss much at anything that you do, JC, on or off the court. And I'm so grateful for your time. And thank you for being a supporter of 24 Hours Nothing But Net. Thank your family. I've enjoyed getting to know your mom and dad. I haven't met your brother yet, but I do love Emmy. And I'm glad that you were able to share some of your experiences being a big sister to a sister with Down syndrome and what that landscape is like for you and your family.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, good to see you and good luck. We'll be in touch as the season gets closer.
Awesome. Sounds good.
All right, thanks, JC.
See ya.
JC Sheldon from Ohio State. You know, once in a while you come across some student athletes that are a great definition of what college is all about. And I would put Sedona Prince in that category because she is an incredible ambassador for our game. If you don't know her name right off the top of your head, you're going to by the end of this interview because she is a remarkable young woman. And I'm so pleased to have her on 24 Hours Nothing But Net. Sedona, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, Debbie. Long time no see.
It has been a while. You've had quite a journey across the college sports landscape. Why don't you break it down for us a little bit and tell some of our viewers about your path?
Yeah, well, my path has definitely been not easy. It's been crazy back and forth. Not one that a lot have taken before, but it's been a fun one at that. I went to the University of Texas at Austin my first year of college, ended up breaking my leg there, had to transfer to the University of Oregon. Did not get to play that year because of eligibility rules, but that was an incredible year. It also was COVID year, so that season got cut short. Then came back my junior year of college, had a fun year, a great year to play back from that injury, and then ended up calling the NCAA out on their, the massive 2020 weight room madness, and then played one more year at Oregon. And then was going to put my fifth year, but ended up having a massive injury. I had elbow reconstructive surgery, so I decided to take the year off, move to California, and recover mentally and physically, and train to go pro. But things changed, and last month we decided that I want to go back to college, get my master's, so I'm heading down to TCU.
I mean, I'm so proud of your journey, and I know it's not been an easy path, and there have been a lot of challenges along the way. There's so many things that we're going to dive into here. So I just want to ask you on the surface, what do you think is the most important lesson that you've learned in that path that you just described to us?
Oh man, the most important thing is that adversity is what makes a human, strong, and it's what makes us. And I think that, the adversity that I went through my first couple of years made me realize later on the road in my college career, when I wasn't getting playing time or when I was struggling with different things on and off the court, I realized that, there have been times where I couldn't play, where I couldn't walk, where, I was sick in the hospital. And so that puts it in perspective of how truly lucky and blessed I am. And so adversity's kind of been the thing that's made me continue going and being grateful for where I'm at right now.
I'm amazed at your path because you were one of the top high school players coming out of high school at 6'6". There were so many things that you can do physically and athletically through basketball, and you've utilized those tools in different places to do so. And here we are. I mean, having the options that you have available to you to take a year off, come back, the COVID year, the transfer portal, all the different things that have kind of flex through your path. What is that like as a student athlete in today's world? Because that's much different than a lot of our viewers as student athletes went through.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many, new aspects of being a student athlete that a lot of us are getting used to. And it definitely, it weighs a lot on my first year at Oregon, when I was able to make money and monetize off of being a student athlete, and my life kind of just changed from being it's, this massive weight of being a student athlete, but now I'm a business person and my social life and just keeping up with all of it. And so, I see all the girls, and now it's the game is changing and it's becoming bigger and blowing up. And so it's beautiful, but it is definitely, times are changing, and being a student athlete has a completely different definition than it did, 20, 25 years ago.
Even 30 or 35, to be honest with you. To go
Yeah.
further.
Mhm.
So what one of my favorite parts about doing the job that I do around college athletes like you is I get a chance to know some of the college athletes. I get a chance to share their story. I'm really hardcore X and O, and I love the strategy in the game, and I love to describe, your pick and roll defense and your ball screen offense and all that stuff. But I also love sharing stories about, how people have worked hard to face adversity and make that choice that it's not going to bring me down, it's going to lift me up. How have you used that to lift others?
Right, absolutely. It's I love that. It's about, being a student athlete is such an amazing platform and opportunity to change lives through the game. And so, that adversity of learning that lessons every day and like going through these difficult times, but being on this massive stage and being able to help youth and inspire the game and, on and off the court, like telling our stories. You're right. Being a female athlete and a woman athlete is so important because we're so much more than just our sport. We have these beautiful and amazing stories to tell. And, everyone is so, the game is so diverse. The community, the culture on the game is so beautiful and so rich. And so when we tell that and of like these, every player has an incredible story of where they got to and how they got there. And so amplifying those voices and telling them is the most important thing we can do in women's sports and people following them, but, also, telling them. And it's really cool that you have the opportunity to do that.
I look at every encounter I have with someone like you. It's an overarching, here's who you are, and here are some of the things that you've accomplished. Here's some of the things that you've done. And you see things through a particular lens. I see things through maybe a little bit of a different lens, but it's all equal and fair and same as long as you're willing to listen and learn and be respectful of somebody else's opinion. So, you said weight room madness. We have to, I don't want it to be like, I don't want to miss the top line on this whole discussion because there is there is another line to our discussion that I'm sort of saving because I'm trying to set it up for the big crescendo, right?
Yeah.
You have done so much in the game and you have accomplished so much as an individual inside a team setting. And then you find your team playing in the bubble in the COVID year in the NCAA tournament, and you go to the weight room and take us through what happened at that point, because if people didn't know who Sedona Prince was before that, and I know the basketball landscape certainly did, but just people in general about the weight room madness, describe it for us.
Yeah, I think, the biggest thing is that it was a massive moment in women's college sports and, and the changing and the advocacy and stuff. But for me, like those moments and that kind of treatment, like I had been used to it for so long. And so seeing that and then being able to like take that and take a video of it and show the rest of the world and having that be amplified to millions and millions of people and other people realizing like, oh, that's the truth of women's college sports. That's ridiculous. That's crazy. Even though like we're so used to it in our little bubble in a sense of college basketball and women's sports that it's just what we're accustomed to and what we've been trained to accept. And so when the whole world was like, hey, this isn't okay, this is not cool, it was kind of like an eye-opening experience of like, oh my God, people care, people listen to us. Like that's so incredible of, this is an issue and everyone else is reassuring us of that we deserve more than this.
I like the word disruptor. And a lot of times people look at that word as being a negative. I don't see it as a negative. I think it's a word that should have a positive connotation to it, because like the LIV Tour in golf has changed the PGA, like certain things happen to change college basketball. We're in the 50th anniversary of Title IX. It's an incredible celebration of giving women the equal opportunity to compete and to play and to go to school and go to law school and all the other things. We always look at it through an athletic lens because that's what we do, right? But when you start thinking about, the small little ripple that became this giant wave, right? And the word disruptor. Well, what do you think? What do you think when I say that?
Yeah, I love being called a disruptor. I've always been one. Like my mom has a very, very strong voice as well, and she kind of, implemented that to me and taught me as a young woman to stand up for myself. And I grew up as like a 6'7", even like in my freshman year of high school, I was 6'4", and so I just was like super shy. And she taught me like, you were born to stand out. Like look at your height, you're strong, you were born to be something. And she loves the word disruptor too, because I've been doing it for, especially with her, like I've been wreaking havoc, in the household for a long time, but being able to like use my voice for other things and things that are good, and making a change is truly what being a disruptor means.
I think that's exactly it. And I feel like there are times that I have to be a disruptor as well. I don't always like the way some things are done or how somebody's decision makings come down. I'm always asking how and why. How do we do that? Why do we do it? Why do we do it that way? What isn't there a different way?
Yeah.
How come we're doing it like this? And I think that you have to have people around you that do that. Otherwise, things just become very vanilla and very flat and very simple, where we like a little bit of complexity to what we do, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Being critical and like, pushing how we treat each other and how we speak to each other, but also like how we just act and being critical of each other in a good way of, hey, like just, this is not okay. This is okay. This is great. How do we make change? How do we push forward as a human race? And so that's very important. I agree.
Difference, people that are different, right? I mean, you're 6'4" in high school as a freshman. You're probably 14 or 15 years old, and you've got this whole other level of growth, right? So people stare, they look at you, they see something, they don't see a 6'7" woman walking around very often. Just like people are becoming used to seeing people with intellectual and physical disability walking around. I mean, there used to be a time where people that were different or that were in special education were hidden in the schools. And now that's not the case. You have a soft place in your heart for people that are different. Why?
Absolutely. Well, so I don't think we talked about this, but when I was younger, when I was in like pre-K, my mom, I grew up in California, but my mom enrolled us in a kid with half and half like special needs kids. And so that was like eye-opening with me, that when I was at such a young age that I didn't think of my peers as anything other than just my friends. And so growing up at a young age of that and learning that and just like being accepting of that, but also knowing that like they're my pals, they're my friends, that's not the first thing I see them as beautiful humans, and they're just overcoming these challenges or these difficulties, especially the social norms around it and how people treat people with special needs, abilities and stuff. And so that was incredible. That was eye-opening for me as a 3, 4, 5-year-old. And so I wish that more parents and more kids would be able to do that at a young age.
Well, your mom is a special lady, because as a
She
parent of a child with special needs, I remember that peer mentoring role modeling class that my son Frankie was in, where you put like peers in the classroom that would hopefully teach my son proper modeling, like how to sit and how to do an exercise, how to stand in line, how to follow directions, all those things that we take for granted that are so important to create really good habits. We know that as basketball players, we're constantly trying to create good habits around our workload and our repetitions and all that stuff. It's the same in the classroom.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so you and I got reconnected in Dallas in March. It was in March, the beginning of March, right before March Madness really kicked in. And we were at an Athletes Unlimited event, and we were hanging out, right?
We were, yeah.
we were watching the games and watching the competition, and we were having a great time. And we were just kind of hanging out, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that was fun. That was fun to watch. Like that was my first experience with kind of like being on the sideline of that was like a very interesting, tournament. And that was really fun to watch, but that was super cool. I met, a lot of cool people and got to hang out with obviously you, but like, these players that I've been looking up to for so long, and sit on the sidelines right next to them and talk to them and meet them. So that was an incredible experience.
So I don't know if when you selected that weekend to go watch that you knew Special Olympics was going to be a part of their activities that weekend. Did you know that?
I didn't know at first, but I'm glad that it happened because, you know, we got to talk about it and we got to do something pretty special. But yeah, no, I had no idea. It's just kind of fate.
So I was a part of Athletes Unlimited Special Olympic Weekend, and we had engaged 6 different high schools to send 3 different players to make 100 free throws, so that we were trying to make 2,400 free throws, which would be under the umbrella of 24 hours, nothing but net, which is, you know, our fundraiser for Special Olympics. And so I went around to the practice court, and there you were. What were you doing back there in the practice court?
I don't even know. I had like my jeans on and I was just like running around being silly. And I saw, yeah, like we were all just back there. And I think it was you that asked me to shoot 10 free throws. And I was like, sure, of course. I would absolutely love to. And then it was, who else was that? Oh my God. Who else shot? Was it,
I'm
Simone
not sure
again?
who all, there were several people from AU back there. And then I don't know if you came up with the idea or if they came up with the idea, but what we ended up leading to is a competition between you and me in blindfolded free throws out on the main court. So I don't know how that
Yeah.
happened. Do you know how that
Yeah,
happened?
we were talking about it back right behind like the scores table, and they asked me and they're like, hey, do a competition or like just, you know, see how many you can make. And then I think it was you that challenged me, and we started shooting on the backstage like the other court with our eyes closed. We're like, oh, this is easy, making the first one, making the second one. We're like, okay, cool, let's put some, you know, let's put some money on it. And then we decided that, you know, whoever lost or won was going to donate $1,000 to your organization. And so we're like, okay, cool, perfect, it has a purpose to it, but also a little fun. And then when we got, you know, into the actual game, it was a little bit more difficult and more challenging than we had thought, but that was really cool. That was fun.
But here's the bottom line. The bottom line is, yeah, we were making a little challenge and I was like throwing a couple of $100 at it, and you came up with, out of the goodness of your heart, the 2 of us, to donate $1,000. I have never been around a student athlete that has offered to do something like that. I'm sure there may be some others that have, but to step forward, knowing where your background was and your path and all the things that you had done to make a difference for so many people, Sedona, to step forward as a student athlete. Now, I was kind of like laughing, like, name, image, and likeness is real. I mean,
yeah, absolutely it is. And like, I think, you know, for me, I've been a massive advocate, obviously, in the special needs and Special Olympics in that space. But to do something like that was so, you know, it makes, I was like, wow, like it's not just about me making money and me enjoying NIL. It's about what can I do with it? Who can I impact? Like my future, but also others. And so that was really special for me because like, this is the space that I've wanted to contribute in and be in a long time, and I haven't had the opportunity to. And so it's kind of fate that, you know, you were there that weekend, we got to chatting, and that we had a fun opportunity come ahead. But also it's not just for us, and it's not just, you know, it is for others, but also inspiring others to do things like that is the most important thing.
it is the most important thing of everything we talked about, is that you found inside your heart to be willing I'm guessing you're like 21 years old or 22 years old. You're young and you're still willing to start learning how to give, and service is such an important quality. I talk about it all the time with student athletes. Giving and service are qualities and skills that we need to learn. You already know that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It you know, it makes your purpose bigger being on this earth, that I'm not here just living for me. It's about others and about creating, you know, safe spaces and loving upon others and making others feel good. And even if it's just making one person's day, like that is the act of service that every person needs to be doing every day and continuing to do it to make, you know, this world a little bit better.
Well, I know you just picked up hundreds of thousands of fans across the landscape because you are giving of your time and your effort and your money to Special Olympics. And
yeah.
TCU is so lucky to have you. What are you studying there? I can't wait to hear what this is.
Getting my master's. So I was starting my second degree at the University of Oregon. And that's why I still had eligibility left, because I can now grad transfer. So probably a master's in either business or like general studies. I haven't decided yet, but it'll be fun either way.
I know you're going to be successful in whatever you decide to do. And I can't believe that we have our first gift on 24 Hours Nothing But Net from a fantastic student athlete, a 6'7" student athlete that draws a lot of attention. And
Yeah.
we're going to look forward to following you all season, Sedona, and we wish you well. Mark Campbell just got hired, and he's a great guy. And I know you're glad to reconnect with him from your time at Oregon.
Absolutely.
And I'm just so grateful for everything that you've done. We are going to create a check to present in the driveway from you because it means that much. And
That's awesome. That's incredible. There's
so grateful for everything that you've done, not just for what you've done for Special Olympics, but what you've done to bring awareness to women's athletics and the need for sport to be such a vital part in everyone's life, not just those that can compete at the highest level like you, but those like my son Frankie that need another place that's a great landing spot.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, you too. I mean, you're one of the reasons, I advocate in sport. Like, you've been doing it a long time before me. So thank you as well. And, everything you do on and off the court is pretty special. So I appreciate it.
It's called Live TV in the Driveway. Look at this right here. Sedona Prince, a student athlete with eligibility left, made a donation to 24 Hours Nothing But Net, $1,000, and I am matching her $1,000 as well in our donation from Team Antonelli. This is fantastic right here to think that a student athlete would be kind enough and generous enough to be able to do this. So I'm grateful for Sedona making this $1,000 donation. Thank you, Sedona. It means a lot to us. Okay, 5 a.m. Still dark, still quiet. Whoops. Getting ready, getting warmed up a little bit here. Getting warmed up. One more. Okay. Ready, Frank? All right. 1, 2, 2, 3, off, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, off, 15, thank you, basketball gods, 16, 17, 18, 19, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 'All right, Miss Four? Missed four. Okay.
Nice.
Woo, all right. Okay, the birds are starting to chirp, which is a good sign. I'm going to take a quick shower. While I'm up there taking a shower, you can check out Coach K, who is on repeat. You can't get enough of Coach K. Mary Davis, the CEO of Special Olympics and then Special Olympic athlete Shay Frost.
No one's won more in college basketball in the history of the game than Coach Krzyzewski. He really needs no introduction. And I'm so grateful that, Coach, you're able to spend some time with us here on 24 Hours Nothing But Net. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. I've obviously I've loved our friendship and have enjoyed the all the work we've done together. So it's always been at the highest level. So thank you.
I mean, it's an incredible compliment to me that you call us friends, because I feel the same way about you and your family and what you've meant to college basketball. You know, I'm just a kid that grew up on Tobacco Road wanting to do this, this basketball thing for the rest of my life. You did the same thing. You grew up in Chicago doing the same thing. And I got to spend some time with you sharing your story on the rise, which was really incredible bucket list opportunity.
Thank you. That was a lot of fun. You guys did a great job with it.
Coach, you have a unique and interesting relationship with my son, Frankie, and it stems from inviting us to practice one day and you giving him a ball. And then we were able to introduce you a little bit to the Clemson Life program because he's a graduate of that. You know, what's your impressions of when you think about Frankie and what he's been able to accomplish?
Well, Frankie has a few things that I would like to see in every player that I coach. They would all be better if they had his enthusiasm. There's not a time that I've been with him where he has not been enthusiastic. He's easy to talk to. He communicates and he shows that he has deep feelings. He's a very deep person, enthusiastic and happy. All right. Other than that, he's really a horrible kid. You know, and he's willing to work, and he wants to get better. You know, that's the descript. What I just said, if every player did that, they'd all get better. They would all get better, and they would enjoy the journey of getting better, because they would want to be on the journey and wouldn't be forced to be on the journey. And so he's terrific. He's terrific, and I love seeing the relationship the two of you have.
Well, thank you. It's 25 years of incredible work and joy, and I believe we've been chosen for this responsibility and this platform that the good Lord has given us to share with families like ours, and you're helping us do that. So thank you for that.
Yeah, well, you guys have done it well, and seems like you're very proud of it and happy, and there's still a long journey ahead. As a result of doing it so well for so long, it opens up ideas and goals that you wouldn't have if you didn't have the journey that you've had up to now. And that a lot of people don't understand. Yeah, keep going, man, and keep building on the good stuff that you've done up to now, and see the results of that. And it gives you confidence that there's more out there.
You know, Coach, one of the things that when you have a child with special needs is you always want to put them in a position to succeed, right?
Right.
But just like with your players, but you also know that failure is a part of everyone's journey. So just because you have special needs doesn't mean that you don't experience the emotion of failing or making a mistake and learning from it. I think that's a misconception in our population, that, you know, you deal with a lot of guys that are used to coming in at the highest level, and then you put them in such rigorous positions to be able to fail so they can succeed. And I'm wondering where you learned that from.
Well, I learned that mostly at West Point, but also from my parents. You know, that they're in order to learn something new, you're not going to look good learning it, or else you would have already known it.
Mm-hmm.
And so part of the process of becoming better is a certain amount of failure, not at the end, but getting knocked back while you're achieving something new. At West Point, we called it failure is not our destination. It's just a little bit part of the journey. And during that time, if you're being coached or parented, and this is not alive and well as much as it should be, people should be held accountable. Like, you didn't do that right. Here's how you can do it. Like, if, you know, when he was in school, I'm sure if he got a B or a C, you didn't go into the teacher and say he should have gotten an A. Because if I'm the teacher, I would say, I didn't take the test. Frankie did. That's what he got. He got a C. Now I can help him get an A, but we won't be able to get an A unless we recognize how he got that C, and that he got it. He was responsible for it. Because here's the cool thing. When you finally achieve it, that's your grade too. You know, it's not anyone else's, and you worked hard to get it. And it's called a process of improvement. And I you know, and you do it different with every kid and every team, and how you communicate that. You still have to hold them accountable for it.
Coach, I've been in your office, so I know what an incredible museum it is to your basketball legacy, all the things that you've accomplished. But there's a part of your office that I found to be really unique and interesting, and that is the nuns, the people that write you letters, the conversations that you have, the pictures behind your desk that are your part of your daily prayers. Really, really interesting. And I happen to know this woman named Marge from Millbrook, who wrote you a letter. She's, I think, 93 years old.
She is now, yeah. And Marge wrote me, and I actually I got thousands of letters, but some of them were handwritten and whatever. And I called a number of people, and I called Marge, and I said, Marge, this is Coach K, and she said, this is a trick, but it's not a trick. And I said, I just read your letter and saw your picture, and you made me feel good. And she said, Coach, you've made me feel good for 40 years. And I started getting a tear in my eye, and we wrote each other. So this is a cool story. This past Saturday, we had a Mother's Day ball, which our 12th annual Mother's Day ball, 500 people. And it raises money for Emily Krzyzewski Center, a nonprofit, helps about 2,000 kids a year in our area. And as a surprise, Marge's son works in the Triangle area. We didn't know that.
Mhm.
He drove up to New York, and Marge was at the event. And I met her during the photo lines. And I actually, because I knew she was going to be there, I bought her a corsage
Oh.
and spent time with her. And then during my remarks during the event, I had her stand and be recognized. And it was, it's the full circle of actually putting a human being, not just a letter or a phone call. And what a great thing. What a great thing.
I have a little 6 degrees of separation from Marge because I actually happen to know the family, and they are a wonderful family. And I heard about the story. I happened to be in the first and second round covering for CBS in Albany, and Marge lives in Millbrook, which it wasn't far. And she tried to get down to the floor. I missed seeing her, but I know that she's a huge fan of yours, and
she's terrific.
amazing.
She's terrific. And all those, like if any person who has achieved a certain level of success in any walk of life develops somewhat of a platform from which they can do other things besides the thing that got them the platform. And to me, that's something all of us should do. We're able to do it with a lot of people because, the publicity and everything that you get from what we've been fortunate enough to accomplish.
Well, Coach, you have taken that responsibility and held yourself accountable to making other people's lives better. It's quite unique that, as you said, you've built your platform through basketball, but you're so generous with your time. It's an incredible gift that you have.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing it with so many.
Yeah, that it's the old thing, to whom much is given, much is expected. And I've been given a lot. I've been a very, very lucky person to be surrounded by the talent, love, and support from players, family here at Duke, the people at Duke. And you don't get there alone. You don't get there. You got to be around. You have to be with really good people.
Well, and thankfully, you're taking your platform to the NBA now. We're very excited about your new opportunity. It's great for basketball, and it's a unique position, and it's a unique setting for you. Not necessarily really unique for you because you've coached so many Olympians and so many NBA guys. But how's it going? I mean, what was the decision to make? What went into the decision to do this?
Yeah, it's more of a, really kind of a volunteer role as an advisor. It's not about having a salary or whatever. It's just traveling. I want to stay involved at the highest level of basketball, and the NBA is the highest level. And so to be on Zooms with their office, some of the officials in their office on a monthly basis, to attend general manager meetings, stuff like that. When I love the game, I want to keep contributing to the game, and they do it at the highest level. It's very difficult to continue do it at the collegiate level because there are no avenues to do that. There really is no structure of leadership or whatever. And so it was frustrating for me when I coached for over 40 years, and it still remains frustrating for me. So, but the stuff I'll be doing with the NBA will be very interesting, and hopefully I can be of help to them. They're the best organization in the world, and I know them, and hopefully I can contribute in some way.
Oh, without a doubt, Coach, there's no question. And I'm not going to take you down that path of the NCAA and the leadership situation and where college basketball is, because we don't want to talk about that here. We're talking about some good stuff. We're talking about shooting free throws in the driveway in our 5th year, getting closer to $1 million. I know as an Army captain, you will appreciate this, that I'm going to persevere through the broken finger that I suffered in my training. But I am not letting it be an excuse or hold me back. I'm still expecting to complete the task and to hope raise a lot of awareness and some money for Special Olympics.
Yeah. You're not lefty, are you?
No, thankfully my guide hand just I can keep the bullet.
Hey, no excuses. It's just your darn guide hand. Like, for anyone who's listening, who's around when she's doing it, don't let her make excuses or start holding that guide hand and say, man, this is tough, but I don't want to hear any of that stuff.
I won't. I promise I won't.
None of that.
So life with your dog and your family, everything good?
Yeah, we got we're lab people, and we got a gift at our final banquet 15 months ago, 8-pound, 8-week silver lab. And they already named it from our players and our family, Coach. And he's 15 months old now, and he weighs 85 pounds. And I really like him. We have a lot of land, and how he runs and jumps, and most of the time listens. And but he's become a good friend. I love dogs, and I missed my last dog, the yellow lab, Blue was my buddy. And there was dog pet owners will understand there's a void, they become part of your family, and now Coach is there, and that's a good thing.
Well, Coach, you're a part of our 24 Hours Nothing But Net family, and I couldn't be more grateful for your time. And welcome back. You came last year, and you're really helping us make a difference in many people's lives as we use this live stream platform to try to tell the story of Special Olympic athletes and try to create some awareness. So thank you.
Well, yeah, you're welcome. It's an honor to do it. And again, you're using sport, it's amazing how we can use sport to do other things. And this is a very unique way of doing it. And it's obviously proven to be a lot of fun and very successful. So the best of luck. Hopefully it's the best season, best 5th year. We can have the best. The 5th year is going to be the best and set a new standard for it.
Well, usually when we see Mary Davis, the CEO of Special Olympics, it is about 4 or 5 a.m. Eastern time, and she's already been up and had breakfast and had her workout in Ireland. But now we're pre-taping because Mary's schedule did not allow her to do the live interview with us, which, we'll take it, Mary. We'll take it.
Well, I am absolutely delighted. Sorry that I can't do the live schedule, but seeing you in that state after doing so much, oh my goodness, I'm always in awe, and I'm always trying to figure out how on earth you survive and how you do it. And you come back for more every single year. It's just incredible what you do, Debbie, honestly. So this time, to be speaking to you and you looking so fresh and wonderful. It's like, wow, is she going to go through all that again?
Well, this is our 5th year, so usually knowing that your interview is coming up is an indicator for me that once I get through shooting at the 4 a.m. hour is when I think we interview you either 4 a.m. or 5. I'm not remembering exactly. I
That's
think
right,
it might
5.
be 5 a.m., but
I think
that's
it was
usually
5,
my
5 a.m.
indicator that a shower is coming so I can get refreshed to get going when the birds start chirping and it's time for the sun to come back up. But Mary, we're so overwhelmed by the generosity, the amount of people that have been involved, what this event has been able to lead to for many Special Olympic athletes. And I know in your position as CEO, you get a chance to raise money and experience the games in a different way. When we're doing our part here in South Carolina and trying to make a difference, how do you think we can continue the momentum and keep this thing going?
Well, I think you are already to be congratulated for continuing the momentum, Debbie, because every year, as I said, you come back and you seem to do more and more and more in raising funds in South Carolina for the program there, for the advancement of the athletes. And you know what? Everybody's suffering as a result of COVID. The athletes now are coming back. The coaches, we're trying to encourage a lot of them to come back. There's retraining to be done for new people coming on board. You know, some of our athletes, sadly, we lost to COVID through death, unfortunately, and some of them we just fell off the program because we didn't have that in-person experience which they've been so accustomed to all their lives with the Special Olympics, and we had to pivot and do it in a different way, as you know. But we've come through that. We are trying to be more resilient than ever. But if there was ever a time when we need that additional push, that additional funding to provide in the way now that we need to provide to encourage our athletes to come back and then to obviously grow the program as well, and particularly from a volunteer and coaching perspective. So the funds are just so important, particularly in this aftermath of COVID. And then, of course, we have the preparations for the World Games as well, which is always costly on state programs and national programs who are, you know, trying to get the funds together to provide additional training for the athletes that have qualified, to get their uniforms, to pay for their travel and their accommodation is paid for by the local organizing committee in Berlin. But there's just a lot going on. So you don't know how valuable and important it is what you are doing, Debbie, honestly. Thank you.
I had a parent one time, Mary, say to me, Special Olympics is a place where I know I can trust that my young person or my young adult will have a place to compete and train. And the trust part of it hit me because as parents, we're so protective of our kids, especially those with special needs. You're always concerned about the fear of something happening or a situation that maybe if they're not with you, that someone may not be prepared to handle. It could be a variety of things that happen with kids. But the trust factor really hit me because it is so true. It's the one time where you send them to school, there's a trust factor there. But when you send them to play sports, there's another level of trust. And Special Olympics provides what I call that landing spot for families like mine. What would you say to that whole concept of just the trust that comes with why Special Olympics is so important for young adults and young kids to play?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great point, Debbie. And Special Olympics is a place for everyone. And it's a place, it's a community, it's like a home. It started out, you know, as that family-based program by Eunice Kennedy Shriver all those 52, 53 years ago, you know, when she brought people to her home and she hosted the athletes and their families and volunteers there in her own backyard. So it grew out of that. So it grew very much into a real family and community feel about it. And everybody felt trusted and everybody felt protected as well. And they also felt like they were going to get the very best opportunity to be the best that they could be, which is everything that we aspire for all our sons and daughters. We want them just to be given the opportunity so that if they want to excel, they can excel, or they can certainly work to the best of their ability. And that's what Special Olympics does. And I think there's trust also in the coaches, because they're well trained. We have very sophisticated coaching programs now, both online and in person. And that's the one thing about COVID that was probably one of the positives coming out of it, the way we were able to fast forward our online offerings and provide better opportunities for our coaches to get the necessary training. So, you know, they're well trained, they're well prepared, and that comes through then when they're delivering and working with the athletes. And as you know, for many of the athletes, the coach is far more than a coach. The coach becomes a friend, becomes a mentor, becomes, you know, somebody that gives them so much confidence and uplift in their daily lives. So yeah, I think that the idea of trust in Special Olympics is very much core to what we've been doing for the past over 50 years.
I know some coaches that also provide transportation and sometimes buy some meals and take time out of their own family time to make sure that some of these athletes are equipped to do whatever it is that they want to do next. Mary, I want to ask you, and I feel like I ask you this every question about Eunice Kennedy Shriver, because I'm so enamored by what she's done. I think she's an incredible role model and a mentor for so many, and for parents like myself. What was your relationship like? You know, what was she like? I mean, we know what Tim says about her. We've heard Tim talk about his mom, but what would you say?
Oh, I would say, I mean, she was a role model. She was certainly a role model to me. I mean, I was starting out as a very young teacher, and you know, she came to Ireland, did some various different coaching when she was introducing Special Olympics herself. And when you see her not just talk about Special Olympics, but she actually used to get on the playing field or get on the gymnasium or get on the court and start telling people how they should be coaching athletes. She was so forthright in that. She really just cared about giving opportunity to Special Olympics athletes. And she learned so much from her own sister, Rosemary, and seeing the effect that sport had on her. And therefore she carried that with her then into the Special Olympics programming. She was a woman of great belief in the magic of the human beings and human effort and human spirit. And again, that was very much part of the mission of Special Olympics. She had a lot of faith, and not just faith in God, but faith in our athletes, faith in their abilities, what they could achieve. She believed that they could overcome any obstacles and that they could be the best that they could be, and that they just needed a lift and a helping hand in their lives. And if we were ready to provide that, then everything was possible. And we've seen that over the years, how our athletes now are leaders in the organization. So we're not just providing a service for them, where they are teaching us how to be more united, how to learn from each other, and just how to live your life in a way that is very, very special, I think. You know, there's no baggage with people. You know that yourself. There's no baggage. They say it as it is, whereas we sometimes can be apprehensive, can beat around the bush, but no, their honesty is something that I just find so brilliant, and wish that if the world were like that. I met a parent of a young girl with Down syndrome in Rochester last year, and we were chatting about his daughter, and he said, you know what, if we could discover the magic that's in that additional chromosome and bring that to everybody in the world, we would be living in a different place. And I just thought, oh my goodness,
Wow.
that is so true. If we could, that magic that people with intellectual and people with Down syndrome particularly have, is just incredible.
That is so well said, and that is something that I will always remember. And I think about Eunice Kennedy Shriver and her magic. You know, this lady with maybe a whistle around her neck, really tough and stern, going to tell you exactly how you're going to do it. And if you don't do it that way, she's going to correct you and make sure you understand, with a lot of discipline and a lot of love. And I totally can relate to that. Totally relate to that.
Yeah, you can, because you're such a sports person as well, and you know what it takes. You train hard, you work hard, you learn. We continue to learn all the time. She believed in that, and you'll succeed. You have no issues. And she brought that to Special Olympics. You know, she was forthright and she was bossy, and she did demand high standards from people. I remember she came to Ireland once, and I was coaching gymnastics, and she went right, marched, threw her shoes off, marched out onto the mats, and started pulling up their toes to point them and saying, you know, you got to teach this. This is what we've got to do. Their toes can be better than that. They can be pointed better than that. It was so funny. And then she said to one athlete, I'll always remember, she said to one athlete, Rita Lawler, she said, you're showing a lot of promise. You could be great. One day if you work really hard, you'll represent your country. And like, I'm looking at her thinking, oh my God, like, you know, we'll never have anybody in our club that'll represent our country like that, go to a World Games. And right enough, that very athlete qualified to go to the World Games in South Bend and won an all-around medal for her performance in gymnastics. And what she went on to do after that, honestly, Rita moved from sheltered employment to full-time employment in a hotel, and she moved from shelter accommodation to living in an apartment, which she still lives in. She's retired from Special Olympics now, because that was years ago. And she'll say she always remembers what that woman said. She can't remember her name. She said, I always remember that woman that came to us and said this to me. And I thought, yeah, that's Eunice Kennedy Shriver.
It's the power of words, right? It's how it can be so uplifting, and just a kind word once in a while, you have no idea what impact it could have on someone. That's a perfect example of why you should lead with positivity and enthusiasm and body language that is positive, and all those things, Mary, that you embody as someone who runs Special Olympics. What would be next? Somebody is listening and watching. They're aware of why it's important to give money, and we're asking them to give money. You know, I start, and I'm in the driveway with a grassroots effort, asking everyone to give me 1 penny for every free throw I make. That would be $24 for Special Olympics. And we had enough people that would do that, we could make a significant impact. And I feel like we are doing that. But for somebody out there that might be teetering on, you know what, maybe instead of giving 24, maybe I could give 50 or 100 or 1,000. What would you say to them?
Well, I would say this, and again, I'm going to quote a mother of a Special Olympics athlete who said, I wouldn't change my son for the world, but I would change the world for my son. And that's what Special Olympics does every single day we wake up. It is on my mind day and night as the CEO. How can we change the world to make it a more inclusive place for people with intellectual disability and for our athletes? And through Special Olympics, and particularly through our unified sports program, where we have people with and without intellectual disability playing together, we are teaching people about acceptance, about how to be more accepting, how to treat everybody with dignity and respect, and having the moral courage to stand up if they see a young person with intellectual disability being bullied or being abused. And we do. It happens all the time. We see it. And our training and what we do through the power of sport, and sport can change. Sport can change minds. It can change the world. And particularly through our unified program, we are teaching young people to be more inclusive, to be more accepting. And these are young people that will go out into the world, that will be in politics, that will be heading up large corporations and businesses, that will be teachers, that will be doctors, and they'll bring that with them, that learning, and things will be different in the future because of the power and the impact of sport and Special Olympics. So that's what the money, whether it's $20 or $40 or $60 or $100, that's where the money goes to change that mindset and to change behavior, so that we're creating a whole society of people that understand difference better.
That is a wonderful message, Mary, and we are so grateful that on this live stream, once again, for 24 hours, Nothing But Net, that you gave us some of your very valuable time to help us advance Special Olympics in a multitude of ways. We're so grateful that you had the time to be with us again. We'll miss you live, but we're glad to have you now.
Yeah, I'm so sorry I won't be live, Debbie. I just couldn't do it this year, unfortunately, because of my schedule. But I'll be back again, and I know you'll be back. And I think you're absolutely brilliant. I'm in awe of you and what you do. So thank you so much, and congratulations from everybody in Special Olympics that I know will be rooting for you when you do your 24 hours.
I say this all the time, but one of my favorite parts about 24 hours of Nothing But Net is a chance to make new friends. And that's what Special Olympics does on the undersurface, to allowing athletes to have a chance to compete, organize, and train. And so today we are being introduced and introducing the new friends that we've made, and Mary Helen Walker, mom, and Shay Frost, athlete. How are you ladies doing today?
Good.
We're doing good, Debbie.
Yeah, we're doing good.
I'm so pleased to meet both of you. And Shay, I'm really impressed right away with the medal hanging around your neck. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
I was at running, and I run the mile, and I won, and everybody was clapping and cheering, and I really like that.
We all want fans, that's for sure. I bet you have a lot of fans.
Yeah, I have a bunch of them.
And I bet your mom is one of your biggest fans. Mary Helen, tell us about your journey with Shay a little bit, and what it means to watch her compete.
Oh, it's great. She's come a long way, Debbie. We learned early she was intellectually disabled, but we've taught her that she just needs to advocate for herself. And she goes to Cardinal Cushing in Hanover, and she just became part of their vocational program. So it's a job readiness program. And they really work on her strengths, and her strength is how social she is. And we're just really proud of how hard she works and where she's going in the future.
Well, that sounds like we would have a lot in common, because those are a lot of the same things that I say about my son, Frankie. And I can see by the smile on Shay's face that this is a happy person that you want to be around.
Yes.
For sure. She attacks every day head on. So,
and I say nice compliments to everybody, and it all makes them feel like happy and wonder and joy.
It's pretty amazing what a smile on someone's face can do for somebody else, isn't it?
Yes.
So Shay, tell us a little bit about what your day is like at school and about your vocational program that you're working in.
Well, we take a couple of breaks, then we do work, and then start changing our jobs, and you get to go like take two and different classes, and then you hear the timer go off, and then you grab your badge and you're ready to go, and it's super fun.
Yeah, Debbie, she just earned her independence badge on campus. She's been working really, really hard. I think that's what motivates her. You want to be as independent as you can be, right?
Yes.
And why don't you tell Debbie a couple jobs you do, like
I go to Starland, I go to the goat farm, I sometimes goes to the pizza place and make pizza boxes, and then sometimes you get to enjoy it and have some of the pizza too.
Oh, I've got all kinds of friends that do similar jobs. I have friends that work at a farm. I have friends that make boxes in a couple of different restaurants, not just pizza boxes, but in a nothing bundt cake box.
That's so cool.
I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
Oh,
And-
that's so cool.
And my friends love their job because they feel so responsible and they have a really good skill that they know is needed. And they work with some people that they really enjoy being around. Is that something that you're getting to do, Shay?
Yes, like you get to sweep and vacuum and then wipe it down with a wipe, and then go to Anytime Fitness and wipe stuff down.
I think that sounds really fun, especially if you get to do it with people that you really like.
Yes.
Is Hanover a high school?
It feels like a high school, but I think it is. Yes.
it's Cardinal Cushing Centers. It starts at about middle school and goes all the way up to residential.
Okay.
So she's a day student there, but they do have residential, and they're very, very involved with the Special Olympic sports there, which is great. Shay plays 3, soccer, basketball, and track.
Yeah.
But she lives at home, but they have a really good partnership with a lot of community places, and they really do a good job with the job readiness skills, which is what Shay's doing now. So you've gained a lot of confidence with that.
Yes.
Yeah, so Mary Helen, tell us a little bit about some of the opportunities that Shay has opened the door for you and your family, and then maybe some of the obstacles that you've had to deal with, because on this live stream, we want to teach and educate and find people that are tolerant and willing, and go through some of the things that you and I go through as parents.
Yeah, I think that sometimes because Shay doesn't look special, the bar for her is set really, really high.
Mhm.
So I think what we've taught Shay to do, and us as parents, is to advocate for an appropriate high bar. That's really something that we always say.
Be kind, try hard, and listen.
Yes.
I like that.
There are 3 things in life that we've taught Shay. And I think as a parent, when you learn that you have a special needs son or daughter, what her mom and I have said is all we want is purpose and joy. You know, that's all we want is purpose and joy. And what that is for Shay is, you know, being the person she is, being at a school that knows her strengths.
And be an active person.
Yeah, you're an active person. She has advocated, she goes to a gym 3 times a week. They've welcomed her,
And I
which
love it.
I know that when you talked about Frankie going to a personal trainer, that was setting an appropriate high bar for him, and that helped him gain confidence. Same with Shay.
Mhm.
Even though reading's hard for her,
But
we talked to her, reading is
We worked hard around it.
I know. So we work hard around it. Reading's not just words, right? It's
Yeah.
vocabulary.
I like
It's
pictures
talking to Debbie
and we're learning visuals.
and visuals. Yep. So it's a progress, but some days are harder than others, but we're so proud of how far Shay's come because of the sport we have, especially at Cardinal Cushing Centers for sure. That's why we're wearing the logos. What part of your day do? You play 3 sports at your school, plus you work out Monday, Wednesday, Friday,
Yeah.
and being in shape really helps your mind, right?
Yes. And just staying active.
And she told us a long time ago, Debbie, she's like, I want to be as independent as I can be. And we said, let's go for it, Shay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way you build team, around a positive attitude and a willingness, and finding the right people that want to help alongside, because you can't do it by yourself. That whole conversation about it takes a village is 100% true. We both know it as parents.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that has made me so proud about this event is that 5 years in, we have raised a lot of money, but we've also made a lot of friends. And most importantly, we've created a lot of awareness about why sport is important to this population, and how if everyone gave a penny for every free throw I make, it's just $24. I feel like everyone can do that.
Michelle and I, Shay's mom, say the appropriate bar thing. And, you know, we're just like, we're going to do a lot of different things with Shay. And when you do different things with someone like Shay and Special Olympic sports, it has context for her, and that means a lot. So
Well, you are referencing probably the greatest piece of literature that I have ever been a part of, by Sally Jenkins, the great Sally Jenkins from the Washington Post, who spent 3 days with us and our family. And you know, I saw Sally at the Final Four, and we spent some time hanging out a little bit. And she is one of the most brilliant people I've ever been around. And for her to write that piece so well and share the story of Frankie, and share the story, it's not just the Antonellis and Frankie, it's just the way we've gone about using sport and athletics to be our guiding force in how we put our team together. And it's what you and I know as athletes, right? As basketball players playing on a team, it's what we've always known. It's all that I've ever known, is being on a team and playing your role as a team member. And, you know, I have gone from coming off the bench to being a starter to now I'm the head coach. And, you know, when you're the head coach, you got to lead, and you have to lead in a lot of different capacities that aren't always comfortable. And I have learned from some of the best coaches and teachers and communicators in the game. And Sally captured that so well. And I'm so glad that you're giving us a chance to recount that story, because we need to repost it. I think in 2016, in March of 2016 or 17, when she wrote it, I think we had not yet been accepted to Clemson. And so the story really helped us, and I think helped a lot of families be aware of programs and a derivative of programs that are a college experience, like the ones that you guys are doing. And they're all important, because I can tell you, my son is working 2 jobs, living independently, living with his roommates right off campus. No mass transportation or any vehicle is needed. He walks to his jobs. He Instacarts his groceries, and we're figuring out with support
That's the part that I'm trying to get
how
to.
to do it. And that's what you want to do, right, Shay?
Yeah.
she just said that, Debbie. That's the part I want to get to.
Yeah. That's the part that I'm working on.
Well, there's no question in my mind that you will be able to do it, Shay. I got 100% confidence in you. I know you'll be able to pull it off. I know
Well-
you can do it.
Oh, well, sometimes I get lonely, but I like to hang out with friends when I get lonely.
Well, then you call me or text me when you get lonely, and I'll talk your ears off.
Okay, thank you. And that thing that you're holding up, it reminded me of Flat Stanley.
That's
Yeah,
exactly
that's
where I
her-
got it.
It's a flat Stanley of her son, Frankie.
Wow,
Flat
She takes
Frankie,
that everywhere.
that's amazing.
right? And
Look how strong he is.
I take pictures. He is very strong. He works out, and tells me he's making healthy life choices. I don't always believe that he's doing it, but I do think he knows that that's what he should be saying, and he tries. It's,
Yeah.
as you know, it's challenging to make meals, and that's the wonderful thing about Clemson. Everything is so close. He can walk to eat. He's not missing any meals. I can tell you that. That kid's.
Because I eat everything like a little monkey. I'm not being goofy.
Okay.
No, you're fine,
Try
Shay.
everything.
I know, she eats healthy, Debbie, so we're lucky that way.
I bet you all do. And that's been a good influence for us, is trying to get us to all stay
I
healthy.
know.
Yeah, because I just got a dentist appointment today and one of my teeth is numb.
Well, I'm glad that you are okay and that you can do this interview with us, Shay, because it makes my day to see friends like you being able to take on new challenges and doing your very best and trying as hard as you can to do the right things at the right time.
Yeah,
Well, it's great to have friends. Because what would you do without friends if you didn't feel stuck in the middle?
yeah, that's true, Shay.
You're right,
They would
Shay.
stick up for you, or if anything happened, that they would
You're-
always stick up for you, and a friend would stick up for you in your
You're
cry.
right. Well, I can't thank you both enough for coming on 24 Hours of Nothing But Net and sharing your story. And thank you, Mary Helen, for reaching out and letting us know. We're always trying to make new friends, as many as we can, through this live stream, which this event continues to grow. And now we're in 7 other states besides South Carolina. And it's really become,
And I'll be Frankie's friend too.
you definitely be Frankie's friend.
Good morning on the East Coast. I hope that you are sitting with a hot cup of coffee, thinking about Mother's Day and what a beautiful day this is going to be, especially here in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. You can hear the birds, the light is starting to come up, and we're in the 6 a.m. hour. Thank you so much if you've contributed. If you have not, there's the link on the bottom. Please consider giving us a penny for every free throw we make. It would be $24 for Special Olympics. Okay, Frank, you ready? Okay, let's go. One. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12. 13. 14. 15. 16. 17. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 39, dang it, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67,
68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 'kay. Miss one or two? Two. Miss two. All right, let's go. If you're on the East Coast, come on. Little cream in that coffee and hit the link. Coming up next, Amanda Butler, the head coach at Clemson, followed by Wes Moore, the head coach at NC State, followed by the head football coach at South Carolina, Shane Beamer. Take it away, guys.
Man, you know what? I've got some great friends that no matter what I ask them, they always support and say, how can I help? What can I do? How can I get involved? That would be the definition of Amanda Butler, the head coach at Clemson. Coach Butler. Yes.
All right. Happy to be here. Good morning.
Good morning and thank you. Thank you so much. You know, this is our 5th year. You have supported us and been a part of our event every year. You're a part of the team. You should celebrate, and our total continues to rise. You know, we're at point something million, which is amazing. After the first 4 years, because I don't know where we'll be when we run this during the live stream, because obviously we're taping this, but you know, the first 4 years we're at 635,000. And by the time we run this interview, you know, we could be popping champagne on a really big number.
Do it. Yeah, sounds great. Love that.
If we are popping champagne on a big number, you're going to pop some champagne for me from Clemson, are you?
No question about that. We like to think of ourselves in a lot of different ways, but one of those is be elite at celebrating great moments, big moments, whether that's a you know, a big and one or a big three, or whether that's hitting a big number in trying to continue to move the number in a really positive way, and in what you're doing and all the lives you're impacting. So we're ready. Just we'll have our thumbs on the cork, and as soon as we hit that big number, no question.
Yeah, I'll be sure to let you know. You'll be one of the first people I want to share with, because you have been such an important part of the Antonelli journey. All of us, our family, not just Frankie, who served as a manager for you while he was a student at Clemson. Now he's a big graduate of Clemson life. Amanda, you've always had a servant's heart. Where do you think that came from?
Oh gosh, well, I really appreciate the compliment. First and foremost, I think that, you know, I try to live a life of faith, and I try to, you know, just spiritually align with what would Jesus do. And, you know, the most awesome example of servant leadership and leadership in general. And then, you know, my folks, you know, my parents, you know, the role models that the good and the bad have shaped what you're looking at right now. And, you know, I think they've also always been the type of people, community members, co-workers, family members that were ready to step up and step in whenever there was an opportunity to try to help somebody along the way. So I've just been very blessed to be in position, to know people like you who do great things, and they ask me to be a part of it and make it easy for me to join in something so powerful.
Well, I do know your folks, and every time I have a Clemson game, I am always giving a shout out to Barbara and Steve. Barbara and I have laughed and cried together. Steve and I have knocked back a few cold beers in our day. So I enjoy them immensely. I always say, and this is a relationship business, but when you have a relationship with the parents of a coach and you have their cell phone in yours, that means there's something special brewing there. And I think it just means that we all love the game and love being around people, and we all want to do a little bit more. And that's what I see at Clemson. Clemson to me is a place that always just is trying to do something special and something different and a little bit more. How does that whole, you know, climate and culture of Clemson life fit into what you're trying to do with your basketball program, Amanda?
Well, it makes it really easy. You know, it just really makes it easy for the two things to align, and it makes it so much more powerful to attract the right young people or new staff members or however we're trying to grow our family, because the environment here at Clemson, not just the environment we're trying to create in women's basketball, but the environment that starts from the top down. You know, Jim Clements is just a tremendous leader and really sets the tone for the entire university in a way that attracts a certain type of person, a certain type of student, a certain type of family, a certain type of athlete. And it encompasses a lot of the things you've already talked about, you know, just that community connection, make an impact beyond your own footprint, have that, you know, create that ripple effect in all the areas of life that you impact, and then have an opportunity to do those things in a super elite environment filled with all the resources that you need to be successful. And really, you know, it always blows me away. And I think when I first started my journey here at Clemson, and you knew this way before I did, you know, there's all these Princeton Journal Review rankings, and, you know, and all these national rankings, and Clemson's in so many of them. But the one that is so impactful is being always in that top 1 or 2 of happiest students. You feel that when you're here. Yeah. And I think program, not beyond the leadership and beyond the athletic success, the programming that you see, the intentionality of things like Clemson Life, and how that, you know, doesn't just impact the students that are in that program, you know, like Frankie and Ross and, you know, all of our guys that we get to enjoy as part of our program, but the way that whole program impacts the entire university. And we're just so proud to be able to be part of what that feels like. And it's just one instance of the intentional energy and money that is put towards creating an environment at Clemson that I think is second to none.
I'm with you. I mean, I had been going to Clemson for 30 years as a player, and then covering teams at Clemson in my job. And I thought I knew Clemson, but I would always, you know, come in off Perimeter Road, go to Little John, go to the hotel, go back to Little John, back on Perimeter Road, and I'd be out. And I never knew the real fabric of the university until I saw it through Frankie's lens. And it's just absolutely amazing. I mean, I'm 100% sold. If I was going to do college all over again, man, it'd be hard to turn Clemson down, to be honest, because it's meant so much. It's meant so much to us. So, you know, the pure essence of sport and teaching is trying to help somebody become better, right? Challenge them to do something that maybe they have not been able to do on their own, or to give them the tools they need. And you're a great example of doing all of those things. And when it comes to Special Olympics, Amanda, that is exactly where we are with trying to raise money and trying to make a difference in the lives of families like mine that, you know, have a Frankie that wants to compete and train and work and socialize and be a part of the team. What would you say to all of that?
Well, first of all, thank you. You know, just for an opportunity to speak on it, and then also just the compliments at the beginning. You know, the first thing that I would say is it's just necessary. It's just necessary. We're all in our own ways, hopefully, trying to make the world a better place. And there's this really special population of people that need access to athletic opportunities and competition to continue to further their journeys. And so that they're going to impact the way in their own world, whatever that means. And, you know, sport and being an elite teammate and learning how to compete and learning sportsmanship and handling failure and all the lessons that we learn from sport, they shouldn't just be available to a certain population and then other populations are excluded from that. And so I think, you know, Special Olympics just is just a beautiful and enjoyable thing. It's so special to be able to partner in any way, whether that's donating your time or your money or being willing to enroll your children in a program. And I'll give you one other, you know, we talk a lot about Frankie and you know, the kids here at Clemson Life that have served as our managers and will continue to do so. We've got Austin Greenman here on campus.
What?
And yesterday. Yeah. Oh, well, wait a minute. Time out. He's here for a visit. He's visiting Aunt Shelley.
Okay.
We're recruiting him hard for Clemson Life, and he is a Special Olympics all-star. He plays basketball for the SA Fire, which is San Antonio Fire. He lives in Texas, plays for Team Smoke. The guy's been down here on our practice court getting up shots every day. You know, there's just so many inspiring examples, and I've been blessed to be just in the environment with an Austin or like you know, like a Frankie, and to see how much their health and their wellness and their opportunities to compete, the level of pride that it inspires in them. And that's just a few. There are so many more that, you know, it's really humbling to have any role in that journey, whether it's an encouraging word or it's a donation, or whether it's, you know, coming on the podcast of a hero and leader like you, that, you know, hopefully to have any measure of influence over anybody that's listening or watching, or, you know, just to encourage folks to get involved. You know, what a great opportunity in life to be able to be in a space where you get to encourage people, or you get to inspire people, or you get to provide an opportunity for other people. And specifically, you know, mom to mom, we know this specifically, other people's children. Like, we understand that on a really different level. When you're a parent, we all want the best for our own children, and I get to care for other people's children through basketball. What an honor and what a privilege. And to hopefully love them well. And Special Olympics just provides that on a completely different stage, but it's still just a tremendous opportunity that just produces good. So why do we not all be down for that? And then if you've ever had the time to volunteer, or, you know, to be part of an actual event, you walk away as a fan. You walk away as a fan of Special Olympics, regardless of whether there's a family member or a friend. It's infectious. And so, yeah, that's what I think about that.
Would you like to take my role in the driveway and handle,
No chance.
you don't have
Wait.
to shoot the free throws, but I'll take you as the MC in the driveway, handling all the different aspects of what we're doing. We are old enough to remember Jerry Lewis and the muscular dystrophy telethon. Muscular dystrophy, I couldn't get it out. It is kind of what it is, but that's inspiring, Amanda. I think we're going to run this interview a couple of times because I'm going to need to hear that. Probably about 3 a.m. is what I'm thinking. You have a wonderful group of young women that you coach, but one in particular that I have a special eye on is Amari Robinson, because she has her sister Kennedy, and Amari is a big fan of the Clemson Life program and is actively involved in doing things. And Amari is going to come back and play another year, which is great news for all of us in college basketball that love seeing players compete at the highest level in our game. Just a couple of things about what makes Amari so special on your team from a leadership standpoint because of the influence of Kennedy in Special Olympics.
Well, I think whenever, you're fortunate enough as an adult, not just as a basketball player or whatever, but as an adult who has a platform to just have such clarity around what you're passionate about and why that is, like, then that's a movement. That's a whole movement in and of itself. And that is Amari. She, even as a 17-year-old girl, when we were recruiting her, when we first got here to Clemson, had such clarity around, like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm special education, and this is how I want that to look. And this is the type of leader and the type of person and the athlete and sister and, daughter that I am, but just was from such an early age, because of the influence of her younger sister, very clear about her passion. And then to share it and to be so selfless with her time and her levels of engagement and her personality, because Amari is so special in so many ways that, there's the basketball crowd that's pulling you this way. And then she's a great, daughter and sister. And so then you got your family that requires some of your energy this way. And then you have a cause, whether it's Special Olympics or Clemson Life or her own curriculum and her own college that she's in that's pulling you this way. And Mari just generously gives to all of those areas of her life. But no doubt, Clemson Life is such a huge part of that. So you talked about earlier about servant leadership. Listen, I don't even deserve to be in the same conversation as Amari Robinson in that. She's a freaking rock star who also happens to be a baller. And we're blessed to be able to benefit from all aspects of what we call her who factor. But she's an inspiration. She puts her time and her money where her mouth is. And I cannot tell you, like, when she walks into a Clemson Life event, it's like Beyonce showed up. It's like, it's just, you can't even understand the influence. And it's because she gives so much. It's not because she can go out and be one of the best players in the ACC. She just gives and she invests and she shows up, for the students of Clemson Life in a way that makes them feel special. And they love her. And I do too. I'm just, so blessed to be a small part of her journey, and, and really excited to be able to coach her for another year and then just watch how she continues to expand her impact in different directions.
Well, I love her too. And I love her family because we've walked in those shoes and we know. And when you see the inspiration of Kennedy all over Amari, and what an incredible young woman she is, we'll have her back on the live stream because she's such a powerful part of what we're doing. She has such, as you say, great clarity about the message and how to share it and inspire others. And Amanda, you continue to be a rock star. You've got great energy, and I love being around you, and I love covering your team, not just because it gets me to Clemson, and I want to go to Clemson as many times as I can, but it also gives me a chance to be around you and your staff, and what a great light you shine on all the Clemson University and the Clemson Life program. So thank you so much for your incredibly longevity of support, incredible longevity. I'm just so thankful. I'm grateful.
Well, I appreciate that, Debbie, and we appreciate all that you do and all the spaces that you fill up, all the rooms that you walk into and own with your reputation, with your words, with your actions, with your time, with your example of mothering and leading and advocacy, because we all of us need advocates, and you are in so many spaces. So it is a tremendous pleasure and honor to be able to ask to speak and share some of my thoughts. But you know, you're the inspiration, sister. Keep doing what you're doing. We're proud of you. You're going to keep moving the needle and making things better for families you won't ever even know. And that's tremendous legacy. So
I think Barbara and Steve would be really proud of their daughter, and I can't wait to pop a few cold ones with Steve.
sounds good. Sounds good.
Thank you, Amanda.
Absolutely. Bye.
Man, I love basketball. Everybody knows I love NC State, which means I love Westmore. Yes, I do. One of my guys. Wes, good to see you.
You too, Debbie.
Thank you so much for always being so supportive of 24 Hours Nothing But Net. You and Linda have always helped us out with Special Olympics, and we are grateful. Thank you for doing that.
Well, thank you. I can't believe what you go through. I see all your training tapes and push-ups and free throws, and wow, I need to, maybe I need to have some of my players join you in that stuff. Pretty impressive. So I know you're making a lot of sacrifices to make this happen, and everybody appreciates all the money you've raised and all the people you've helped.
Well, thank you. That's the whole goal, right? I mean, it's not really about the free throws. It's just a platform to share the story about why Special Olympics is so important. But let me ask you this, Wes, do you think I could have played for you? I mean, you think that work ethic would have transferred over?
No doubt. Work ethic and the shot. I've always said we're going to recruit people that can ring the bell, and then we'll get them to play defense. So you'd have definitely been on my recruiting list, and, we could have, I'm sure you'd have got some good NIL deals,
You know what? I would have been working that shooting camp. That's for sure. I would have been wanting to do that. Anything that's offensive related, that's me. But how is it going? It's such a challenging time for coaches. I don't know a lot that are happy in the profession right now. It's not easy to do what you're doing. And I know you love to play golf, and I bet you've been spending a lot of time in the portal and doing other things that usually you're playing golf now.
Yeah, it is a big change. I think especially for us coaches that have been in it for a long time, this is where you pour everything you have into your season, and this is when you're able to kind of catch your breath a little bit, and those days are over. Now you're trying to get kids to come visit, and you're obviously doing visits and entertaining them. And then, like I said, you've got the collectives and the NILs and all that are influencing factors as well. And so it's a whole different ball game. And, I guess the group we had that won the 3 straight ACC titles, they grew together. You brought them in as freshmen, and they, a couple of them were here 5 years. You had, Lisa Canane 4 years. And then, of course, Raina Perez looked like she'd been here all her life. So it was just a different time. I loved recruiting high school kids and bringing them in and watching them grow individually and then grow as a team. And that's what that group did so well. They just kept getting better. They weren't necessarily the top blue chips in the country, but they worked hard, like you mentioned, the work ethic, and they were unselfish, and they got better. And because of it, we enjoyed some great times. And now it's a lot more fluid. I tell people I used to sit in church, and when we had a lull in the action, I might be on my bulletin writing out my depth chart, for that year, maybe the next year, whatever. Those days are over. You just every year you kind of start over. So it's almost like being a junior college coach, to be honest with you.
I bet Linda slapped your hand a couple of times in church if you weren't paying attention. I got to believe she told you to start, get your eyes up.
but Debbie, I take notes during church, so she doesn't. So again, there's a reason I have a pen in my hand. I'm making that stuff. I try to tell our student athletes, you take notes, you rewrite them. It really ingrains it.
Yes.
Whereas otherwise, you have a tendency maybe to lose focus a little. So yeah, I'm overall, I'm getting good notes.
Those are good habits that you're talking about. And Wes, you referenced that group that helped NC State to back ACC tournament championships. And it was a special group and a special run.
Yeah.
But when I think about that group, I don't just think about the winners and the championships that they were. I think about how good the product was and what was able to come from that, what you were able to build because you put a product on the floor that people were interested in. Yeah. Now look at the celebrity of Frank Wes Moore. He can't go anywhere in Raleigh. Plus, season tickets are sold, and it's hard to get a ticket for the games. I mean, it's exciting. It's really exciting.
Yeah, you're right. That summer after the UConn game to go to the Final Four or whatever, I'm bucket list thing. I go out to California to play Pebble Beach and a couple other courses out there, and we're unloading at the prestigious Monterey Peninsula Country Club, and the guys grabbing our bags out of the car, out there in California. Oh man, I saw your team on TV, and you guys were awesome. And we just had so many people that love that team. And, again, they just played so well together and were unselfish. And so I think that, that's what made them special. And it was a fun run. Obviously we got to turn the page and move on. And now we have new challenges. And but I think they were special kids. They had special parents. And I think you try to recapture that. I mean, we're excited. We got 4 freshmen coming in this year, and hopefully we can kind of get back to, building and growing as a group. And, you're still going to have to fill in with the portal. That's just where we are nowadays. And obviously there are some great players and great individuals in that portal, and to survive, you got to be able to get some of them. So, but it's changed, it's changed the coaching profession without a doubt.
Put your spin on where the game is right now. A lot of people still buzzing over the 9.9 million rating that the championship game got with LSU beating Iowa. And you're a team that beat Iowa earlier in the year. You actually went into Iowa City that last year and won. When you think about the 9.9, and as long as you've been in the game, Wes, I get this question asked of me a lot. I'd like to know what you think about where we think we can go. There's expenses and there's investment. And it seems like right now there's an investment in the game.
Yeah, I agree. I think right now there's definitely a lot of buzz about equality and all those things. And I think they're growing the game. I think it's going to be interesting. The TV contract's coming up here soon. And in the past, we've kind of been under the umbrella with the men's basketball and all that. I think now we've built such a great product that now you're going to see people, broadcast companies are going to want this product now on its own. And so I think that's exciting. Probably social media has helped, and maybe even, with the portal and the movement, it draws a lot of attention. Obviously in that game you had Caitlin Clark, who unbelievable. I can't say enough about her at first, especially after seeing her up close. And Debbie, we held her to 45. So, I've had a lot of people calling me during the NCAA tournament wanting our scouting report on that one. How'd you slow her down? But no, it was a great win up at their place. But again, Caitlin Clark is, a generational player. And then you had Angel Reese for LSU and all the attention, she had an unbelievable year as well. And so, when you got marquee names like that, I believe it really draws the interest. And I think now we're going to have more players that are going to have those marquee names, so to speak, and platforms, and that's going to help our game continue to grow. And, it's exciting, no doubt, to see how popular it's gotten.
Well, I agree 100%. And when I look at the ACC and what's coming back next year and how good the league is going to be, I mean, this is a talented, once again, I thought last year was one of the most competitive years we've ever seen. And I think next year could be equal or greater. It's just amazing to watch some of your colleagues and some of the competitors. And I know you, Wes, I mean, I know you want to compete at the highest level against them. So I know there's parts of you that are really happy the league is good. There's other parts that some nights it's tough.
Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt. It was unbelievable this past season, and I'm sure it's just going to continue to climb. But yeah, this year it was brutal. Everywhere you went, every game you knew was going to be a battle. And, you know, as you mentioned, we had some big wins, but we had some losses too that really slapped us down. So it's a great challenge. Obviously the talent is unbelievable, but then also so is the coaching. Throughout the entire league up and down, you've got unbelievable coaches at these schools. So it's going to be a big challenge again to try to stay up at the top and be one of the elite schools. But you know, that's what you want. You want to go against the best. You know, when I came to NC State 10 years ago, I said I could have stayed at Chattanooga, and, you know, we were very blessed to win a lot of championships there. And I could have just been, as I said, drifting down the river in my little kayak. But then you come to the ACC, now you're shooting the rapids and you're trying to stay alive. And so that's where we are now. It's a treacherous trip down that river for sure.
You always got some of the best analogies, Wes. You always bring it. You always have something to leave the viewer wanting more. Yeah, every time we talk to you, and on any platform, including this one. So there's a couple of things I want to ask you about. One is how much you evaluate and consider analytics to be a part of some of your decision making, because you have an incredible staff. You know, your staff is as good as anybody's in the country. And one of the things that you have is with Brandon Miller is he's formed his own staff of analytics. As a matter of fact, one of your guys is going on to work for the Indiana Fever. So I know that's something you hold in high regard. Where does it fit and how have you evolved inside it?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it's just you try to use every piece of information you can. Obviously, as you know, Synergy is a great source. You really come up with a lot of numbers there about whether a person shoots the ball well off the bounce, you know, where their comfort zone is for their shot, left, right, just things like that. And it really helps as far as putting the film together and being able to inform your team and go into a game prepared. And then obviously evaluating your own team, you know, what lineup works the best together, what, you know, maybe sometimes maybe we only see certain things offensively or whatever. And then when you see the numbers, okay, wow, you know, I need to be open to that. But then again, as an old school coach, there's still the time you got to go with your gut, you know, and you may have a player that struggles a particular season or during a certain stretch. But as one of our old great football coaches, Darrell Royal, used to say, you know, at some point you got to dance with the one that brung you. And so, you know, you still, no matter what the numbers say, there's times you go with somebody that's proven and that you know what they're capable of doing. And you got to have that confidence in them and stick with them. So that's a fine line, you know, when to maybe move on, give some new opportunities, and when to stick with what's worked in the past. And same way with analytics, you got to go with your gut, but you also got to be open to reading that information and taking advantage of it.
Yeah, I definitely see both sides of it. And somebody like you who's been in the game and had so much success for so long, I trust your gut. So if you make a decision late or you don't make a decision late on something, I always know you've already given it plenty of thought. It's not like, I think fans sometimes don't realize that these scenarios, end the game or any situation, end a quarter, are things that you and your staff are constantly poring over and practicing and working on. So anything that you do, whether you advance the ball or not, you know, late, I know you've already decided why. And usually, because I've studied you so much, usually you have an advantage somewhere while you don't want to advance the ball. And I know sometimes in a foot speed situation, I've seen you just throw over the top. So I know you've got it all figured
Yeah.
out. Here's the hard question
I
today.
wish,
Here's
I
the-
wish I had it all figured out.
You got it, Wes. You got it
Yeah,
all figured out.
yeah.
All right, so here's the tough question for me.
All right.
When do you decide to drive the red Corvette? Like
Yeah.
what day? Is it weather permitting or is
Oh
it?
yeah, weather,
feel?
I definitely try to avoid the rain. Those tires are kind of slick, you know. So I definitely avoid the rain. Want it long enough of a drive that it's worth it. But you know, a lot of times on Sunday is a good time, take it out, little Sunday drive to wherever I'm going to eat lunch, you know. And you know, beautiful right now is unbelievable weather here in Raleigh. So matter of fact, I did here yesterday, take it out to lunch and all, and then put the top down and enjoyed the wind and the sun. And you know, I've always wanted a Corvette, but yeah, this one's special, so I'm enjoying it.
So I have ridden with you in your Corvette. I've also ridden with you in your other car.
Yeah.
And I think it's fair to say you're not a great driver.
Oh,
You're very
come on. No,
risky.
I may not be a slow conservative driver. I'll buy that. You know, I may drive a little fast, but you know, people don't like riding with me. My wife don't even ride with me anymore, but you know, we'll meet.
I believe that.
We'll
I
meet
believe
in a
later.
restaurant, but you know, hey, again, all out, you know, don't tell anybody, but you know, that Corvette will go. So when I get an open stretch, I gotta air it out a little bit, you know, free up that carburetor.
I know, I have experienced it. So do you worry about where you park it or just park it
Oh
like?
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. I worry about everything, Debbie. So when I'm in my other car, I worry about where I park it. You know, you got to hopefully park on one side. You're on a curb where you can get close to it and give yourself space on the other side. You know, yeah, oh yeah, oh everything. Got to think through everything.
Do your golf clubs fit in the Corvette?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. You wouldn't buy a Corvette if it didn't. And they're smart. They make it where a set of golf clubs will fit. Yeah, they're not crazy.
Okay, now are you still on your regular lunch schedule? You know, the favorite places you like to go, even though it's not in season, or do you have an in-season lunch schedule and an out-of-season lunch schedule?
Nah, pretty consistent, you know, but there's days that are like free agent days. You know, you got to feel it, you know, whatever. But yeah, lunch is a big deal. So yeah, I definitely, and you know, you went with me one day and said, talking about my onion rings, that's a heart attack waiting to happen or whatever.
I'm feeling it right now.
Yeah, I'm feeling it too. My stomach's growling. So yeah, yours is a little bit higher than mine, but I'm feeling it too.
Wes, you don't want to be in the transfer portal at a Sammy's. I know they expect to see you over there at least once a week. And then there's the burger day. You can't transfer portal out of that place. I mean, you say free agency, but
yeah,
I don't know.
I've got an NIL deal with Sammy's and Emilio's. So yeah, you know, I got my own little NIL deal. So yeah, thank you. I'm enjoying that part of it. I'm not going in the portal.
I've dropped your name a couple of times at those places. It doesn't seem to give me an NIL discount. I mean,
yeah, no, I even have to, even my guests, I have to pay for them. They only let me freeload one meal a day. So
Wes, you're such an enjoyable character and personality, not just in the ACC and around NC State, but around the game. And I always enjoy my time with you. And I especially love calling games in Reynolds.
Wow.
You know, I love it.
I love having you there. You're such a professional. You're the hardest working person I know. And then again, especially, you know, the work for Special Olympics and all that. And is dear, you know, I started out at Maryville College in Tennessee. Every year our athletic department would work the Special Olympics there in Blount County in Maryville and kind of help run that. And then I just got through playing in Gary Blair's event down in Texas, which raises millions for Special Olympics and things like that. And now the work you do is amazing. And again, you're just touching so many lives. I know Coach Doran and his wife have also gotten very involved in some work here as well. So it's really special to see people helping people out.
Well, thank you, Wes. You're a great friend. You're a terrific teammate, and you're an even better leader. And I'm glad that we have all of those things working for us at NC State together. Thank you for being with us on 24 Hours Nothing But Net.
All right. Thanks, Debbie, and good luck.
Welcome back, Coach B. Man, I love basketball. Everybody knows I love NC State, which means I love Wes Moore. Nothing But Net. Coach, it's always great to see you. Congratulations on your season last year, and what a wonderful spring it seems like you've had.
Yeah, it's been good. Thank you again for having me on. Honored to be a part of it, and my respect for you grows each and every year when you do this as well from a physical standpoint. But no, fun year, and spring practice went well, and life is good in Columbia, South Carolina right now.
I would say, I mean, I've got a really happy Gamecock that lives here that graduated and can't wait for the football season. I also got a Clemson Tiger who, you know, has the opposite feeling when the conversation comes up. But it's so great, Coach. Like, I mean, it's so exciting to watch what you've been able to do, how quickly you've been able to turn things around. You may not think it's quick, but I think you've really turned it around in a fast way.
Yeah, no, I'm very blessed to have great people around me, and we got a great place here at Carolina that we expect to be successful. We have the resources that we need to be successful here, and we've obviously, you know, play in the toughest conference in America and have a brutal schedule every single season, but love that challenge and the competition, and fortunate to have really good players here with me and great coaches and staff and all going in the same direction. And that's allowed us to have the success that we've had the last couple seasons.
I'm always fascinated by the level of organization, communication, leadership that's required from your seat to be able to put all the pieces together. I mean, you could have 130 guys and an incredible staff that you have to manage. What's the most important thing about keeping it all organized?
Yeah, I know it's hard. That's probably the thing that people don't necessarily realize about the position is just the amount of people that I'm responsible for in my position. We got 120 players on the team, coaches, staff, you know, weight room, training room, nutrition, character development, equipment room. There's just a lot of people here. So you got to be organized. Thankfully, I think that's one of my strong suits as a person is organization, and then have really good people around me, you know, that can help me with that. And then I just think from a leadership standpoint, the role that I'm in is just the consistency, realizing that, you know, all eyes are on me each and every day after a win, after a loss, whatever it may be, that everybody's looking at me and just trying to, you know, be consistent with how I do things and not on an emotional roller coaster of highs and lows throughout the day and throughout the season.
The way you finish the season has everybody wanting more, right? I mean, this is a year that's going to be really exciting, and you're going to have to manage some expectations because you're not the underdog all the time now. I mean, you're a guy that they're going to expect to put a team and a product on the floor that can win, and you do have a lot of really talented players. It should be fun to watch. I mean, what's the most challenging part about sort of being on the other side of that now?
Yeah, it's different. You know, I took over 2 years ago, and at this point, 2 years ago, we were getting ready for my first season, and I think, and there were some national writers that said that winning 2 games was, the ceiling for this program in 2021. Now you got people that talk about us being a dark horse championship contender and all that as well. So certainly things have changed, and our guys, there's for every one of those, there's plenty of people that still don't think we're very good. So understanding that as well. We worry a lot, not so much about what people on the outside are saying, but what we're doing. And for us, we talk about it all the time, just trying to be the very best team that we can be each and every year and maximize the potential of the 2022 or 2023 football team, for us. But it'll be a challenge. We've got a really good team, I think, but our depth isn't where it needs to be in some spots. We've still got some depth issues that we need to continue to get better at. There's no question about, or get stronger at, without a doubt. And then we're going to be playing a lot of freshmen. I mean, I think literally at every position, we're going to be playing at least one true freshman this upcoming season. And it'll be a challenge how quickly those guys can get ready to help us. Without a doubt, we got to do a good job of coaches, but it's certainly a different dynamic than it was 2 years ago. I like the dynamic that we're in right now, that there are expectations for this team, but I've got to do a great job with our players of, understanding by no means have we arrived. We had some great wins down the stretch, but we had some really ugly losses at times last year as well. And just being more consistent and knowing that we still have a lot of work to do in each season's a new season. Just because it went well last year and things worked a certain way doesn't mean it's automatically going to happen this season.
I've lived in this state for over 20 years. And when you look at the population of the state, and with 2 major programs, Clemson and South Carolina, the one thing that I've always recognized is South Carolina fans are so supportive. Like, I think even when there were years before you got there when football wasn't winning, they were always sold out at Williams-Brice. And I just think the pitch of the excitement around your program this year has got to put you in a position where sometimes you're going to have to block out some of that noise that the naysayers, or they nitpick this or that about your team, or you're mentioning depth. Like, how do you keep the noise away and keep the focus of that many guys?
Yeah, no, it's tough. And you're right. We got an amazing fan base. They're unbelievable, and they're passionate, and they're loyal. And I love hearing from so many of them. I'm busy doing Gamecock Club events around the state right now. And I love going to those and hearing people tell me every single night how they've never been more excited and can't wait for the season and things like that. That's awesome. But, there is a lot, there's noise out there, and I don't think you can keep them away from it nowadays with the days with social media and everything. NCAA, as you know, only allows us 4 hours a day with our student athletes max. So there's 20 other hours that they're not in this football facility, that they're on their phones, they're listening to TV, they're in class, whatever, and they're hearing a lot, and whether it's people telling them how great they are, or people are telling them how bad they are, if we're dealing with some adversity. So for me, it's just, making sure they understand that what's real and what's not real, and making sure that we do a great job of delivering the message that we have, and making sure that they're hearing the right things when they're here in this facility with us each and every day.
I'm always fascinated by the power of SEC football and the fandom that follows the league. And you're not messing around with your schedule. I mean, you're hitting it hard right away. North Carolina, up in Charlotte, then Furman, and then you got to take on Georgia. I mean, what did you learn from the spring that's going to help you be ready in the fall?
Cool. You're right. We're not tiptoeing into anything. Open up with North Carolina, who played in the ACC championship game, finished with Clemson, who won the ACC championship game, and then 8 SEC games in between. So it'll be in a challenging non-conference schedule outside of that. So it'll be tough, but I learned that we got a team that's hungry. Haven't seen any complacency coming off of last season. It's a group that's hungry for more. We did some great things down the stretch, beating Tennessee and Clemson, and we got a group that's hungry for more. And they showed me that with their work ethic, not just during spring practice, but since they came back in January, the way they work and competed. It's a group that is fun to be around and loves to practice, which I like. It's a fun group to be around. And then learned that I'm excited about our newcomers. We brought in a bunch of true freshmen that were here for spring practice that graduated high school early, brought in a really solid group of transfers that'll help us immediately. So I like the group. I feel like we've upgraded our depth at a lot of our positions that we needed to. And now let's see how quickly we can become the very best that we can be going into game one and then as the season goes as well.
Shane, I was pretty excited to read this morning about the land that's near the football facility and that there's potential to do some development and some creative stuff there. I mean, there's a lot of different ideas coming out of how to use that huge piece of property that university owns and how athletics could benefit from it. I heard a golf course, I've heard a different complex. What would you like to see back there? And I know golf has got to be on your radar a little bit.
Yeah. I feel like we have what we need from a football standpoint right here. So I'm all for golf if there's anything back there as well. There's some great courses obviously down there where you are, but Columbia could use a great golf course. And I know our golf team, they have a practice facility back there that they're able to go down there and hit balls at, but they need more. So I'm all for being able to help our golf team out and then just continue to develop that area. I think there's a lot of potential for USC athletics back there, as well as just the city of Columbia and the state of South Carolina. So I think there's a lot of potential, and have heard different ideas and I'm seeing some different preliminary things of things that people have in mind. But I'm excited. We're fortunate that we're not landlocked, that we got a lot of land here in Columbia that's still underdeveloped, and that's exciting as we go forward for the university and the entire city.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what athletic director Ray Tanner comes up with and with the university. I think that's going to be really exciting. As you know, Shane, this is our 5th year of 24 Hours Nothing But Net. The first 4 years, we raised over $635,000 for Special Olympics. So, we're just trucking along, getting closer to $1 million. I know you have an affinity with your family for Special Olympics. I know you've been involved in the past. And thank you for all that you have done for families like mine. But when you think about the rewards of the things that people can get involved with around Special Olympics, what comes to mind?
Just the being able to help others, the respect that I have for anyone with special needs, and it's something that I'm, passionate about. I know you're passionate about, obviously, and ton of respect for you, and just being able to see smiles on people's faces and being involved with different events myself, going back to when I was in high school and helping out at I can remember volunteering at a track meet, for Special Olympics, and just seeing the smiles and the joy on everyone's faces that day as well. It's something that I've been passionate about since I was in high school, and so honored and humbled to be part of this event with you.
Well, you're a great ambassador for the state of South Carolina, and I am so grateful for all your time and your dedication to helping us in this effort to try to raise the awareness and raise some money for Special Olympics, because as you know, those athletes need a place where they can train. They may not train in the same kind of facility that your guys train in, but they still need, a place where they can organize and socialize and make sport fun. And that's what we're trying to do.
There's no question. They do need a facility, and there's no reason why they shouldn't have something amazing and nice like we have as well. They're athletes as well, and deserve great training opportunities and opportunities to come together and compete, which we all love to do. So absolutely.
Well, we're flying that flag, house divided, very proudly here in our town in Mount Pleasant, just so you know, because can't disappoint either one of the boys. But it certainly is fun to watch what you've been able to do. Of course, I know your dad, and I know he's so proud of you, and a lot of people are proud of what you've been able to do, Shane. So we're wishing you the best of luck this season, and we're pulling for you.
Well, I appreciate that. Enjoy watching you and all of your basketball broadcasts during the season. Keep up the great work. You do an awesome job. I learn something every time I watch you on a broadcast, and I mean that, and much respect for what you're doing here as well. This is awesome.
Well, thank you so much. Now, every football coach that I have on here, I ask them the same thing. You're going to let me in the offensive coordinator meeting sometime? I'd really like to listen and learn.
Anytime, you are always welcome. We can learn just as much from you. So come by anytime. You know you're always welcome here. I mean that. When you're in Columbia, look me up and please stop by.
Well, thank you so much, Shane. That's Shane Beamer, the head football coach at the University of South Carolina. Thank you, Shane.
You bet. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach Beamer. Thank you, Wes Moore. Thank you, Amanda Butler. And welcome back to Women's Sports Network, who's been with us most of this event. If you haven't donated, 24hoursnbn.com is where you need to go. This will help Special Olympics. If you just give a penny for every free throw I make, I'm almost at 2,400. We've got a few more hours to go, but we've been up all night, and we're doing this to raise money and raise awareness for Special Olympics. So if you're watching and you haven't made a donation, would you please consider one? It would mean a lot to the Special Olympic athletes. Okay? All right. Ready to get a few warm-ups in here? Get a few shots in here. Okay. Ready, Sanchez? Okay. That's still a warm-up. You ready, Sanchez? Okay. Here we go. 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 9. That one was short. 10. 11. 12. 13. 14. 15. 16. 17. 18. 19. 20. 21. 22. 23. 24. 25. Oh, it's off. Oh, thank you. 26. Oh, that's off. 27. 28. 29. 30. 31. 32. 33. 34. 35.
36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95. Oh, short. 95. 96. 97. 98. 99. 100. Okay. How many? Three? Three. Okay. So I want to thank Yvonne Sanchez for rebounding for me. Frank, my husband, rebounded for me most of the night. In order to comply with the Mount Pleasant noise ordinance, we turn our Dr. Dish off at 11, and we can turn it back on at 7 a.m., but we choose to be good neighbors and respectful of the neighborhood. So we don't turn it back on until, it's Mother's Day, it's Sunday morning. That's been our habit every time. So we've never turned the dish back on, even though we would be in compliance with the noise ordinance. Coming up next, one of my favorite Special Olympic athletes, Chris DeJulia. He's a great friend of mine from Philly. Then Honey Brown, the head coach of the women's basketball team at the University of North Carolina, Asheville, the spot of where I broke my finger a couple of weeks ago. And then Sint Marshall, who is the CEO of the Dallas Mavs and a great friend of 24 Hours Nothing But Net. Thank you, guys.
I don't know why every year I invite Chris DeJulia back to the live stream, because I know it's going to be one string of insults after another directed at me. Chris is my friend, and he does not cut me any slack. Isn't that true?
Why would
Why would you?
Why would
Well, I'm pretty cool. You could give me something.
Well, if you're cool,
Turn up the heat. Okay, I'm gonna turn up the heat on you. What about these Sixers versus the Celtics? What you got?
I don't see it happening.
You don't?
Definitely. Game 7 with little go 7.
Yeah.
The win tomorrow. We'll win Saturday, Thursday, and then Sunday. Don't see it happening.
A guy who has
the big guy is hurt.
The big guy's hurting.
And the officials know what the league wants.
The league wants the Celtics.
Yep. So when they get to the locker room, there'll be a note in the locker.
When they get to the locker room, there's going to be a note.
Make sure you call a game the microphone. I felt the one.
You act like you got money on the game. You got money on the game?
No, I've been watching the NBA too long.
It's too long. You're right.
I know all about it.
I don't know a bigger sports fan than you. You're by far the most passionate fan I know.
Oh, yeah.
You love your teams and you hate the rest of them.
I love them when it's high.
You do. I was going to wear some Ohio State gear for this interview because
hang up.
You were going to hang up. I know your buddy Phil Martelli coaches at Michigan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so you just go over there to Michigan if you want.
You want me to finish you like no? If you want me to finish fight long, I'll finish fight long.
I do not want to hear that singing voice. No way. No.
Want a football game.
All right. Okay, let's change topics then. I shouldn't have brought it up. Okay, listen, Chris, I think you try to stay up and watch all 24 hours of Nothing But Net. Do you try to stay awake for all 24 hours?
Why?
Well, you get to see me shoot free throws.
I do try. But yeah, something does put me asleep.
Come on, man. Give me some slack, dude.
Slack?
Yeah.
Why?
I'm old, and now I got a broken finger. Look at this. I have a broken finger.
Oh, God. What did you do?
The ball hit on the end of my finger. Do you feel sorry for me?
The ball.
Did you feel sorry for me?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm okay because I can shoot right-handed and I can keep this finger out of it.
Oh, really? Yeah.
That's the plan anyway.
All right.
Okay, so I want to know, because not a lot of people are familiar with how good of friends we are and how much crap you give me. But I want to know if while I'm shooting free throws, if you're rooting for me or rooting against me for a high percentage.
No, I do for you.
You do?
Quite honestly.
Are you telling the truth, or are you just saying it because we're recording this interview?
No, I am telling the truth. I really don't want you to build the house.
You don't want me to build a house? A house of bricks?
I don't want you to do me with that for humanity. I really do. I really do want to make you in. I really do.
Well, part of the reason why I'm doing this is because people like you inspire me. Because I know you go to the weight room and you work out
Oh yeah.
Okay, how many days a week are you going to the weight room?
Two.
2 days a week. That's great. And when you get done going to the weight room, how do you feel?
Yeah, I feel rejuvenated.
Feel good?
Yeah.
You get a good stretch, right?
Oh yeah.
You put some muscle on. I see it. I see it.
Yeah.
I do. I see some muscle.
All right.
Chris, what is the most challenging part of your day?
Currently, I'm going to some more, like, I don't know what seems like my cerebral palsy
Right.
is progressing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's annoying.
Yeah, that would be annoying because
And challenging. So,
you got allergies.
yeah, and it just started maybe from July till now. You know, July on.
I know you're battling some health challenges, and I'm not trying to make light of it, but I thought you were always allergic to me.
And
that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Well, Chris,
oh
you
God,
know,
you on TV, I can't watch it.
you see me on TV and you can't watch? Do you still turn the sound down?
Why not?
Well, you might learn something. You might learn something.
Yeah, what?
See, like I said, I don't know why I invite you on this live stream.
Oh boy.
Okay, so let me ask you this. I know you said your cerebral palsy is progressing, and you can only go to the weight room now 2 days a week, when I know you used to be in there probably 4 days or 5 days a week.
Right.
But sport is still important to you because you enjoy watching others compete. And your day, you build your day around whatever season it is, and you're ready to watch, right?
Yeah, 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 I enjoy competition.
Yes, me
When
too,
my
competition.
people win. When my people win, I enjoy competition.
Okay, so
Or tie.
tie. Competition when it's played well.
My dad says all the time, he's with you when tie. I'm with you when tie.
You're with them, win, lose, or tie.
No, when tie. Tie.
Tied?
Tie.
When it's high?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you this. All right. I'm competing in the driveway to challenge myself to shoot the best I can so that we can share this story that you and I love to tell about Special Olympics, right?
Right, yeah.
Okay, so I want to dedicate one of my hours to you. Which one do you pick? Because let me tell you when it's the hardest. Like 2, 3, 4, 5 a.m. Those hours are hard. And then at 9 a.m., the sun is in my eyes. Which hour do you want to be the Chris DeJulia hour? Which hour is it? You're the only guy getting their own hour. No one else gets an hour, only you.
Good question.
It's a good question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you're trying to figure out when you can torture me the most or when I need your inspiration the most. I would pick the latter.
1 p.m.
1 a.m.?
No.
Oh, 1 p.m.? The
Yeah.
second hour?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. 1 p.m. on May 13th is the Chris DeJulia hour.
Right.
It better be my highest percentage and not my worst.
Yeah, baby.
I'm going to do my best.
It's the second hour, though. Baby.
My second hour. It better be good. You're right. Okay. I'm going to mark that down. I hope you'll be watching and listening. I know when you see me on your TV, you don't like to listen, but you will be entertained by a lot of the guests that we have on the live stream. You're going to love it this year.
Oh, I know.
I am so glad we're friends.
And me too.
I mean, I'm glad all the time, not just a little bit of the time. I'm always glad that we're friends.
No, I am too.
Okay, well, that's good. Well, thank you for being nice to me today.
Partly nice.
Partly nice. You take care of yourself, and I will be dedicating the 1 o'clock hour on Saturday, May 13th, to my good friend Chris DeJulia, who every year is a part of our live stream. Chris, you're a great friend. I love you dearly, and thank you for being with us.
No problem. Go ahead and do it.
You know what? I love yucking it up with coaches, and one of my favorite to hang out with is Honey Brown at UNC Asheville. Coach Brown, thank you for joining us on 24 Hours Nothing But Net.
Oh, you're welcome. It's a pleasure always to be able to join this cause and to be here with you.
Well, you went above and beyond last year, and in the gym for 24 hours, you guys were matching what I was doing in my driveway. And this year we're going to change it up a little bit, thankfully, because I feel like you guys went above. I mean, that was crazy to keep your facility open and have players in, but you guys did it. It's one of the greatest compliments of my career, and certainly of this event, that you guys would provide that kind of service.
Yeah, I mean, I think we get a lot of folks get behind it, you know, things that you've done for us. Of course, you want to repay the favor, but there's lots of ways I think you can repay favors. And this way was a way for us to get involved with Special Olympics even more than maybe what we've done in the past, represent your cause, raise some money for the North Carolina Special Olympics. But also, I think just bring awareness for some of our players and other community members that there's other great causes out there like Special Olympics to get behind. And for us to be able to do that last year and have some folks coming in the middle of the night shooting, it was pretty fun. But like you said, doing it, I think mixing it up helps bring a different flavor, maybe bring more awareness to folks to be able to get involved in a different way besides just showing up at Kimmel Arena.
Well, this year it's a full event downtown at Bears Smokehouse Barbecue, and the folks down there are really excited about hosting UNC Asheville. At the time of the taping of this interview, you guys will have done the event. And so we know it's going to be a success. When you think about getting your players involved, honey, what do you think are some of the things that really matter the most about them understanding why service and giving are skills they have to learn and they should learn in college?
Yeah, I think it's something we talk about even in the recruiting process about building themselves, building and growing as people. And I think that, we talk a little bit more about you've been given this platform and understand how to use it. And, there's lots of different ways that you can do it, but getting behind some causes like this, because it really makes you think about other people out there. We're such a self-absorbed society now with selfies and everything else that I think it makes them really figure out that you can feel even better about yourself and other things that you're doing when you can give a little bit more. And whether it's monetarily or time with our players, either way, it's service. And I think it's something they realize that they need to do with their platform that they have.
Well, I've enjoyed my trips to Asheville. I was just there recently to MC the scholarship banquet for women's sports at UNC Asheville. Janet Cohen, the athletic director, seems like she's really hard to say no to, but living in Charleston and then getting to go to Asheville, I understand what a destination city it is. I absolutely love going to Asheville. So don't let Janet know that I would keep coming up there, in exchange for some gym time, because that's what we've been doing. I got to work out with your players. We did our free throw burpee routine, not just with 2, but by the first day were 2, but the next day we had 5. So I've got this whole free throw burpee club now that has been created at UNC Asheville, and I absolutely love it. I love your kids.
It's awesome. It's awesome. I think it was one of those, again, a tribute to them. I think the first couple ladies, we had to figure out who around class schedules could come, but then I think others saw pictures, and then I just put information out like, hey, if you want to come get some shots up, do some, workout with Debbie, show up at this time. And so it was really just open invitation. So credit to them to show up and get a good workout in. I mean, I don't think people realize what you do to get ready for your 24-hour event and how hard you train at doing it. And I think for our players, it was good for them to experience something different and they be able to work out with a Hall of Famer like you, Debbie.
Yeah, it's not a Hall of Fame workout, I can tell you that, because I'm like, what happens in the gym stays in the gym. As ugly as it might look, it definitely works for me because it helps me get ready. You're absolutely right, honey. And while I was there, I added a broken finger in our workout on that Tuesday with a couple of your kids. And we were doing the free throw burpee routine, and I just caught the pass, on the tip of my finger. And you were in there, thankfully, and your trainer, Kelly, was in there, thankfully. And my reaction to it was, the ball clipped my finger. I thought maybe it was jammed. I had 3 reps to finish in that set. And I finished the set. And it was like a 20-second delay between the ball hitting my finger to finishing. And then all of a sudden, I think I looked at you and said, I think I broke my finger.
And you come running underneath the basket. Yeah, I just happened to be coming through because I knew you were out there. And I was like, let me come out, say hello. And our trainer she was just walking around and just happened to pop in. And like you said, it was one of those deals that it didn't happen right away, but all of a sudden here you come out underneath the basket and you're like, I think I broke my finger. And I like, look at you, look at your finger, I'm like, Kelly, and know your role, like get some help. But as many thousands of passes as you've caught over your career, it's amazing when you catch one pass, just you catch it weird and crazy things can happen. But I'm sure you've caught all kinds of passes in your days and nothing's happened. And
it wasn't even the bad pass drill. It was a good pass. I just clipped it just clipped my finger. But what happened after that was your trainer, Kelly, took really good care of me. My finger was kind of doing this thing and it wouldn't stop, right? And we got it to calm down. She put a splint on it. And when she put the splint on it, and I kept saying to myself, don't cry, right? I couldn't let your kids to see me crying, right? No crying, right? No crying. And then I looked at you and I said, I have to see if I can still shoot. And at some point during the season, your kids are going to look back and go, that old lady was doing this free throw burpee routine with a broken finger. It's got to help both of us somewhere, right? Maybe?
Yeah, for sure. Well, even that second day, there was a couple of the players came in, Taylor and Jemiah, that shot with you. And I said something about the next day, and Taylor already had said, she was like, I've got to show up. She broke her finger. She's shooting with a broken finger. So they're already saying it, Debbie. They already love you. They already respect everything that you've been doing. And you just added more fuel to the fire for them.
Well, they're definitely in the free throw burpee club. And we had a really nice dinner with them where Rick Lasavita and I took them to a Bears Smokehouse barbecue and had a great meal. But the conversation was equally as good. 5 of your players, just getting to know them better. And, that's why, coaches talk all the time about relationships and, wanting to have good relationships with your players. If you ever take the time to really listen to the athletes and talk to them and they're such good kids. They're all good kids and they're all really interesting. And how you blend all those personalities together is really the great challenge, but really the fun part, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think that, we talk about this all the time as far as why you're in college athletics, and exactly what you talked about is part of why I do what I do. Of course, I love the X's and O's and scouting and the basketball, but I enjoy getting to know them as people. I just got a text this morning from a former player letting me know that she was graduating from her grad school and sent me the live stream because she knew I couldn't come. And that's why we do it, because we're that buffer between them becoming young women and getting out into the real world. And you hope that you're giving them skills from talking to people like you and interacting and their professors and getting them ready away from their parents as they're building their own identity and ideas, but they still have a little bit of guidance. But they're, like you said, you want to recruit great people and people that want to grow and build. And I think we've got a really good group this coming season to do big things off the court, but on the court as well.
Yeah, so what a special place, right? Great facilities, what a beautiful setting campus is. I love downtown Asheville. It's flourishing and changing and growing. It's a beautiful place to hang out, and it would be a great place to get an education. And I have to believe, honey, there's been some domino effect or spin off of the great success that Mike Morrell and his program had on the men's side. How have you been able to take advantage or benefit from the new celebrity of UNC Asheville in terms of bringing players, using the portal, all the things that you're trying to do as a coach right now this time of year?
Yeah, I think it varies. I think that sometimes in girls basketball or women's basketball, they're paying attention to certain men's teams. And then sometimes, it varies, I think, year to year. But I do think that their winning was awesome. And Mike does a great job and we're good friends. But I think it just brings more awareness just about winning, just winning, what's going on there. There's a winning culture. There's a winning environment. And I think that's the biggest thing that I think that we've tapped into from our side, is from our players just being even hungrier. And I think talking about that with incoming recruits, like, hey, our men just did it, we can do it too. I think that's how we've tried to tap into it the most. And then just the excitement in the community, I think that always it helps too, from building, maybe not in recruiting, but just in fan base and interest and everything else about what's going on. And again, it's about, it's exciting, it's fun, it's winning, it's notoriety. All those pieces put together can help jumpstart us into moving in that direction as well.
Well, it's definitely an exciting time on campus, and there's a great vibe around the university, and you could feel it when you're there. And for the scholarship dinner that we had there a couple of weeks ago, what a great event with such great people in the room that truly care about watching young women have success, as they are our future leaders. I think over 50% of the population now is women. So we need these women to be leaders and to be prepared to move forward. And you're doing your part to help get your kids ready for what's next. And it's really fun to watch.
Yeah, thanks, Debbie. Well, they're, like you said, they're good kids, and we do have a lot of people in the community that really understand the value of women and the value of what women leadership does for not just this university and this community, but for our future. And it was like you said, it was a great event, but just exciting to see not just our players and some of them that were there getting recognized, but a lot of the other women's athletes on campus and how well they do in the classroom and the things that they're going to be doing in the future, and what they do in their sports is pretty awesome.
It's a remarkable, uplifting event, and I'm glad that I get a chance to be a part of it every year. And I'm grateful for your friendship, honey, and I'm grateful for the time that you spend helping us raise money in the state of North Carolina for Special Olympics. 24 hours, nothing but net. It's not the same without North Carolina and UNC Asheville being involved. So I want to thank you for being an incredible partner and an incredible servant leader in this space for us.
You're welcome. I'm glad to be involved, and just excited about May 11th and us getting out there. And like you said, by the time this airs, you'll be down and dirty getting after it in Charleston and Mount in your driveway. So I always tune in and watch you guys, and I'm looking forward to doing that again this year.
Well, we're so grateful for your partnership. Thank you, honey, and good luck. Keep it rolling this spring and into the summer. And as a season ticket holder, I'm pulling for you all the time.
Thanks, Debbie. I appreciate it.
Well, Caitlin Clark may have been the most popular name at the Women's Final Four this year in Dallas, but she also could have finished second to Cint Marshall, who was everywhere in Dallas for the Women's Final Four. Cint Marshall is the CEO of the Dallas Mavs and a new friend of 24 Hours Nothing But Net. Hi, Cint.
Hey, sister. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, and I'm so pleased to have your energy and just to have you with us on 24 Hours Nothing But Net. This live stream is such an important part of what we do to raise awareness and raise money for Special Olympics. So thank you for being with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I love what you're doing. I'm excited about this, and I'm just honored that you pulled me into it so I can be a part of this from now on.
Well, I'm counting on you because you have incredible energy. You have such an incredible story to tell. If anybody hasn't gotten the book, you've been chosen by Cint Marshall, my friend. This is a fantastic read. My whole family has it. I think we've bought 5 books between the Mulligans and the Antonellis. And we're so grateful that you wrote your story. Cint, I don't even know where to start with your story. Where would you start when you're trying to explain what this is?
Okay, so what this is, so first of all, thank you for all the support and for being one of my new best friends. I'm so glad we got a chance to hang out a few weeks ago. Where I will begin is just what the book is about. It started out just being a book to kind of share my cancer story and to share the journal that I kept when I was going through chemotherapy. And it turned out to be something that really actually kind of tells my story. And it's a story about how God and great people always show up in my life, and a story about how I think we've all been chosen for the adversity and for the good, the great, the bad, and the ugly things that happen in our lives, and that we need each other. Like you need me and I need you, and we've all been chosen to be there for each other, and that we can, we're equipped to handle the things that come into our life, the challenges that come into our lives. So it kind of starts at the beginning of my story, and it chronicles my cancer story, but also things that happened in my life, which was not the plan, but that's just how it worked out. That's how the book worked out.
And it's God's plan, the way things roll out, right?
Yes,
I mean, like you said, we've been chosen. My husband and I have always believed that is the case for us with our 3 boys and our middle son, Frankie, who has Down syndrome. He's a young man living with Down syndrome and living a full life, a college grad, living independently with supports, got a couple of jobs. And, we just did the best we could, trying to make the best decisions we could in the situations that we found ourselves in, and highs and lows around those situations. And I think you've done the same thing, and you've chronicled it so well in your book.
Yes, you were chosen for your story. I mean, you and your husband were chosen to be his parents. And, he's playing a unique role in society, and you two are playing, and your other 2 sons. Your whole family. I mean, you've been chosen to kind of go through this and to do what you're doing. I mean, look how, I know you wouldn't brag about it because you just called to do it, but look at how you are really advancing the cause and putting a bright light on the Special Olympics and what can happen. And so I think that's what is happening in my life. That, raising a public housing project, went through a lot. My mom went through domestic violence. We did as well. I watched violence. I watched some things happen, but I also had a good childhood because my mom was chosen to be my mom. And she put a math book in one hand and a Bible in the other, and just told me to keep my head in these 2 books and I could get through anything. And it turned out that when I ended up with cancer and I called her, she said, "You got this. I mean, you have been chosen for this. And this is for God's glory, and you will tell this story one day." And it was brutal, but you know what? I got through it. And I got through it and this is what the agents who, the publishers and the agents who were involved in the book, they said, we want to tell more than the cancer story, because if you look at your life growing up, you look at some of the things you experienced. And then of course I had 4 second trimester miscarriages, a daughter who died at 6 months old. And then of course, the journey of my 4 adopted kids, husband with brain damage, who they never said would walk again. I mean, so as I'm going through all of this and talking to them about it, they just said, we've got to tell the whole story, because you just haven't been chosen to battle cancer. There were some things you were chosen for prior to that equipped you to be able to, approach your cancer battle with the positive attitude and the hope and the faith that you brought to it. And so they were right. And so even in your situation, I mean, the things that you've gone through, the things your family has gone through, it's all for good. It's all for God's goodness and to share it to the world to make things better.
We don't share our stories for empathy or sympathy. We share them because we know that we can help someone else. And that's the whole reason why you told your story in your book, while I'm doing what I'm doing for Special Olympics. They parallel so many things that are similar in our lives. Our stories are different. The situations that have happened in our lives might be a little bit different, but they really are similar in so many ways. And
Yes.
I just admire you so much. When I'm, like, here's Sid Marshall, like, your reputation before you meet you is amazing. And then you meet you and it doesn't live up to your reputation. And it's just incredible. You and I had a sit down fireside chat at the House of Blues in Dallas as an event for the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame to create awareness. And you just absolutely killed it. And I came away from that knowing that it's okay to be a disruptor, because that was the word that I use sometimes in my life about some of the things that we're trying to get done in our life, or how we're trying to make the world a little bit better for other people.
Yes.
You definitely are a disruptor. I love that.
It's good disruption. And so when I left you that morning, I knew I had a new friend for the cause of disruption, because it's good disruption. I mean, it's not bad. You have to disrupt things. You have to kind of shake up the status quo, because sometimes people don't know what they don't know. And they don't know that there is, sunshine and the rainbow on the other side of what some would consider misfortune or a tragedy or a challenge. It's all for good. And so we disrupt things, we give people hope, we give people faith, but we have to kind of like shake it up a little bit to get people's attention. So I love being disruptive. So we're going to give a new positive connotation to being disruptive. It reminds me of Congressman John Lewis, when he talked about getting into trouble, but good and necessary trouble. So this is kind of good and necessary disruption to kind of move us forward.
This is, and that's exactly what we're doing, and why I was so drawn to you. It's such an endearing friendship to have with you, because you mean so much to me on so many different levels, with everything that you have been through, what you've accomplished, what you've done in your career. I mean, we've talked about some of your adversity. Talk about your career a little bit, because that's just absolutely amazing too.
Oh yes, my career has been amazing. So, I worked for AT&T for 36 years, fresh out of college, 21 years old. I only had 2 criteria when I got out of college. I said, I want the job that pays me the most money, because I had 13 job offers. So this is a long time ago. I said, I want a job that pays me the most money because I want to help my family get out of poverty. And then I want a job where I could be the boss, a job where I can supervise people. And it wasn't about supervising people or leading people. It was really about serving. So I wanted a job where I could serve people. And I had an amazing 36-year career. And actually, in a male-dominated environment like I'm in right now, because, I was raised in kind of technology, and just had some great mentors and sponsors, and, dealt with things there as well, being the only woman often, or the only person of color. I mean, so you just kind of deal with it, and you blaze trails and try to make things better for other people. But I had a phenomenal career, retired, started my own consulting business, doing great. And then I get this call out of nowhere from Mark Cuban, who I honestly did not know at the time. Some people don't believe that, but I didn't. Okay. Raising 4 kids and doing my thing. And so I didn't, but he called to ask me to, help lead the business side of basketball. And I didn't know anything about basketball, but he was looking for a leader, and he wasn't trying to make history. He wasn't trying to appoint the first, African-American female CEO of an NBA team. He was trying to make a difference for his people. We just hit it off from the beginning. developed a great relationship. He was very genuine about wanting to create a great place to work for his employees. And that was 5 years ago. I said yes, and I really said yes because after talking to him, 2 women also talked to me and encouraged me to take this position. And I was kind of scared about it because, Debbie, you know, I didn't know a thing about the business of basketball. I worked in telecommunications and communication and entertainment for 36 years, but didn't know anything about the business of basketball. I was a big fan, but didn't know the business. And he said, don't worry about that. I'll teach you that. Others will teach you that. And that's true. All my colleagues just jumped right in from, you know, the other teams. And it's just been great. And I'm still learning. I'm still learning. Even, you know, the time I spent with you in that whole 4 days, my goodness, I'm still learning about, you know, women's basketball. And so it's exciting. So I've had a career change and I'm loving it.
It's so exciting to hear you say all that. But I want you to tell the story that you told that morning about when Mark Cuban called you and how you handled the call and what you said to him.
Well, you know, when he called me, first of all, I was on the phone with my clients. And so my phone is blowing up and I actually handed my husband the phone because I thought it was one of my kids. I had 2 in college at the time. I thought it was one of my kids looking for money. And so, and I would just tell them, if you need something, text me. So I handed the phone to my husband. I said, one of the kids need money, take care of it. And then he came back a minute or so later and said, this dude doesn't need any money. It's Mark Cuban. So I said, okay, don't judge me. I said, who is that? Because I truly didn't know him. So he's trying to explain who he is. And then he had my son call me to explain who he is. So anyway, so I ended up calling him back and he wanted to meet with me at 2 o'clock. And I told him I couldn't meet with him at 2 o'clock because I had a mammogram scheduled. And that I had learned the hard way. What happens when you don't take care of your medical business? Because honestly, when I got colon cancer, it was because I had put off a colonoscopy and I just didn't do what I needed to do. And so he wasn't concerned about that at all. He said, I'll come to you. I'll meet you wherever you want to meet. And I said, well, no, you don't need to come out here. I'll come and see you. And I got a chance to meet with him that evening and it was great. But I did tell him I needed to pray about it. I told them that, you know, I just needed to see what the Lord had to say about it because I was kind of skeptical because I just truly didn't know what was going on. But I ended up saying yes to it. And I didn't know him, but I trusted him.
I just love that whole story. That's just phenomenal. Most people know who Mark Cuban is, but you're so honest about it. It's just great.
Well, you know what was great too? I'm sorry, Debbie. You know what was great is I didn't know him and he didn't know me. So it wasn't like he was trying to, you know, phone a friend to help him out in a crisis. My name kept coming up, I guess, as a proven leader, someone who had, you know, helped AT&T, you know, lead a transformation effort to get on Fortune's 100 Best Places to Work list for the first time. And so he did his homework. And so he was really trying to make a difference for his employees. And he didn't care that I didn't know him. He thought it was pretty funny. So he didn't care that I didn't know him.
5 years in on a job you weren't so sure you wanted to take, and you said you didn't know the business of basketball, but Mark Cuban didn't hire you for the X and O's and the strategies of the game. What he did was hired a leader for culture and relationship building. That's what you're known for, Cint. How's it going?
I think it's going well. I think it's going well. Someone just wrote an article, I think a few weeks ago, and they talked about our success. And we focused a lot on diversity, equity, and inclusion for the business case, you know, the business case reasons that if we can have, you know, more women at the table, because there weren't any women in permanent leadership positions at the table when I got here. And so by the end of our 100-day plan, my team was 50% women. And at that time, 47% people of color. It's 50-50 on both counts now. But we focused on just diversifying the tables, putting a vision in place, a set of values that are actually on the wall behind me: character, respect, authenticity, fairness, teamwork, and safety, both physical and emotional safety. And so we've had phenomenal success just in terms of, you know, revenue growth. So all of our business metrics look great. And it's fortunate for me. I also came at a time when Luka and Jalen Brunson and others also came. So our team was starting to really take off. So everything just kind of lined up. But the folks here at the Dallas Mavericks are wonderful. Mark just, you know, he was involved with us, you know, and so we laid out that vision and a set of values and set of foundation, and all of our business results are exponentially better. And so now we're at that 5-year mark to say, okay, kind of what's the next phase and where do we go from here? So I am pretty proud of this team. I got a lot of credit for it. Obviously, I didn't do it by myself. I was blessed to get that call from Mark and blessed to be able to lead this team. But these folks in this building, and I say this building because I'm in my office at work right now, they're wonderful. I mean, we made some changes. Obviously, we had to make some changes and some leadership changes. And just having women and different people at the table, pouring in, being innovative and creative. You can't do this without all of us. And so we recognize that. So we're having some success and it's cool. It's good. It's good.
It's cool because you're cool. And, when you start talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, it brings me right to my space with my son, Frankie, right?
Yes.
And how important diversity, equity, and inclusion is for our family. And we see it through a different lens. People have a different definition of it, and it's okay. That's what you're talking about, bringing people together to make the world better for everyone. And in our little way, in our community, we're trying to do that. This passion and purpose of mine matches the passion and purpose of a lot of the things that you have done. And I'm just so grateful that you had the time for us to be on 24 Hours Nothing But Net, that you have been able to support us. And most importantly, I'm just glad to make a new friend because you are awesome. And I am thrilled. And if you have not gotten this, please, you got to check this out. You have to check out this book. It's phenomenal. And I'm so grateful, Cint, that you spent the time with us. Thank you for helping Special Olympics.
I love you, sister. I love what you're doing. I love your whole focus there, and just whatever we can do at the Mavs or whatever I can do personally. We've already offered our support, but we want to offer more support. So love you and good luck with this year.
Well, I love you too. And I'm so glad we're friends. And thank you for sharing your incredible story with us on 24 Hours Nothing But Net.
Awesome. Thanks, sister.